bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
All right, everybody, welcome, Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. Today is Monday, October 19th, 292 days into the new year, 73 days left. We are live from the City of Angel Studios right here in Burbank, California. COA Vapor, makers of the Fade to Black e-juice. It is called Fader Loops. Just go to the COA banner at jimmychurchradio.com right now. You can use the promo code JimmyLive. That's Jimmy, L-I-V-E, for the Fader Not Special. 25% off of your order. And it's good stuff. Takes you right back to Saturday morning. The Jetsons. I'd like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR and the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I am your oh-so-humble host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? It is Monday. And you know what that means. We're kicking off another week here on Fade to Black. And with us tonight, very special guest, Kelly Sullivan is here. And she is America's premier dream authority, best-selling author. And tonight, it is dreams. We have discussed dreams so many times on this show, and I have gone into detail, and I've never had the right guest, the perfect situation to sit down and discuss dreams with this audience and to be able. So we are going to take calls. So get ready. We'll be taking your calls in a little bit. We'll discuss your dreams and what they mean. I want to know what mine mean. And Kelly tweeted out earlier today. I don't know if you guys saw it, but she tweeted out she was dreaming about this show last night. I want to know what that means. I definitely will be going there. Tomorrow night, live in the studio, we will have comedian Michael Gregorian here live in the studio. And Michael is great, very, very funny guy. But tomorrow night, we're going to be talking about Sitchin, the Anunnaki, UFOs. He is a very learned guy when it comes to all subjects of the paranormal. And I'll say this, over the weekend, Michael was a guest of Rita's and mine over at Cassidy Church. And I got to say, he was quizzing me up and down, and I was just floored at his knowledge. And I just can't wait to get him in here tomorrow so he can share that with all of you. Funny guy, too. But I don't think any jokes are going to be cracked tomorrow night. We'll see if we can get him to do it. But tonight, Kelly Sullivan. And the call-in number is 323-825-5045. You can also Skype in Fade to Black and the number 14. And we will be discussing dreams all night long. Don't forget about Skyfire Summit. It's coming up. Today's the 19th, November 5th through the 8th, 2015. Speakers are Travis Walton, David Hatcher Childress, Dr. Leo Sprinkle, Lee Spiegel, Tracy Torme, Ben Hansen, James Fox. I talked to James over the weekend. He's doing good. Lynn Katai, Jennifer Stein, No Torres, Alejandro, Paula Harris. Just go to skyfiresummit.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you. That's what you should do. Drop in a Gobekli Tepe. That's what you should do. All right. Alien Snowfest, thank you to everybody that is pre-registered. $179 is the super, super early bird special. Full weekend pass, $179. Just go to the links right there at jimmychurchradio.com. Alien Snowfest. Click on it. Go. Head over there. And I'm still blown away by that weekend with, Nori, Dan Heiser, Jason Martell, Linda Moulton Howe, Stanton Friedman, Micah Hanks, Mike Barra, Richard Dolan, Chase Kletzky. It's going to be great. And then coming up very quick, it's already October. February is going to be the Conscious Life Expo, too. And that is February 19th through the 22nd. That's like 2 weeks after Alien Snowfest. And that has got a great lineup, too, as well. George Norrie, David Wilcox, Sean Stone, Dean Ryan, Linda Moulton Howe, William Henry, Mike Barra, Jason, Serena Wright-Taylor, Robert Perala, 40 other speakers, and that is at the LAX Hilton. And what we're going to be doing there, that Friday night, we're going to broadcast Fade to Black live. Opening night ceremonies. We're going to broadcast live. And then later on in the weekend, the Ancient Aliens panel I will be hosting. So that's going to be really cool. So that is February 19th through the 22nd. I had something else I was going to announce. This Sunday, the 25th, this Sunday night, I will be hosting Coast to Coast AM. I'll be sitting in for George Knapp. That is this Sunday, the 25th. And my guests are Chase Kletzky and Ron Felber. So we're going to have Chase on first, and then we'll do Ron Felber and the Mojave Incident. So that is this Sunday, October 25th. All right? Let's see what else is going on. This weekend, I know I'm being evasive and stuff. Well, with the posting, yeah, we shot some stuff for a new TV show this past weekend, and it's kind of fun to tease everybody. The pictures out there show what they show. I just wanted to let you guys know there's something cool right around the corner. Who's involved, what it is, who, what, when, and where. I can't say anything right now. I can't. I'm obligated not to say anything. But teasing is fun. That's part of it. So there's a really, really cool show right around the corner. In fact, there are two really cool shows right around the corner. And we're getting close to being able to talk about both of them. But that's why the pictures didn't really show much. Yeah, you got to love it. It's kind of fun to be in a position to be able to tease about stuff like that. But yeah, some really good stuff right around the corner. I know everybody wants to know more and get some inside info. Can't do it, won't do it. Enjoy the pictures. There is some cool stuff right around the corner. Let's get this show cracking. I don't want everybody to lose sight of Studio Dome and the Fade or Not special right there. Norick just tweeted out. You can follow us on Twitter, by the way, at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Come and hang out. Michael Anderson just said Malibu. And Mike, you're closer to the mark than you know. Very insightful. Did you dream about it? Maybe. Interesting. But Norick just tweeted out his SBB boom box. You can get it. Just go to the banner at jimmychurchradio.com. The Studio Dome SBB includes the Buddy 4-port USB charger. That's a $19.95 right there. Just use the promo code Jimmy. You get the SBB for $49. That's $49, free shipping, and a Bud E 4-port USB charger thrown in the box. Best deal on the internet. Go and get it. There you go. Help support the show. Let's get this show cracking. I am ready tonight. Kelly Sullivan, Dreams All Night Long. It's going to be great. Today, South Park's Trey Parker is 46 years old. All right, I'm going to let that go right there. Love South Park. I think we all know that. John Lithgow today is 70. and he will always make the list for Buckaroo Banzai. Man, he was just great in that. Jon Favreau is 49. He makes the list because of Swingers, not because of Cowboys and Aliens. Let's make that perfectly clear. Jon Favreau, today, 49 years old. Also, Chris Kattan is 45. Man, I forgot all about that guy. I don't even know what he's doing these days. But A Night at the Roxbury, An Undercover Brother. I think he was better in Undercover Brother, to be honest with you. Chris Kattan, today, 45 years old. Our dead guy's birthday today is actor and father Robert Reed. Yes, Mike Brady. 1932 to 1992, died young at the age of 59. And yes, he was best known as the father Mike Brady, opposite Florence Henderson's Carol Brady on the ABC sitcom The Brady Bunch, which aired from 1969 to 1974. And I do declare I probably have seen every show, every episode, like we all have. From the show's debut in September 1969, Reed was unhappy. He didn't like the show. He didn't. He felt that the acting that he did was too silly and was beneath his serious Shakespearean training. Reed later indicated that he took the role because he needed the money, but tried to remain positive despite his creative differences. What was that guy's name? Stuart Schwartz. I can't remember his name. But those two guys were always at odds. He masked his dissatisfaction in front of the camera, always performing professionally without any indication of his unhappiness. But in November 1991, he was diagnosed with colon cancer and died on May 12th, 1992. What is that, 6-7 months later, at Huntington Memorial Hospital in Pasadena, California, at the age of 59. There you go. All right. I am excited tonight. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's what you have to do. At JChurchRadio, hashtag F2B. Email. If you have any questions for myself or Kelly Sullivan tonight, you can email into the show, Jimmy@JimmyChurchRadio.com. Just make it good so the producers will send it in here to me. Also, any questions for Kelly, you can use the hashtag F2BQ in Twitter, and that will pop up immediately in real time to my left. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be back right after this short break. You stay right there.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I got to tell you, it was a relief. National Tax Experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. It doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil three-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Klutsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station, where the Fader-Knots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is Jimmy at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Tonight, Kelly Sullivan is with us. Dreams all night long. Been waiting for this one. I've been dreaming about it. So is she. I read a post over the weekend. Somebody said, oh, man, you know, first it was bacon, and now it's spoon. What's next, man? It's not cool. I was like, say what? I couldn't wait to say the word of the month is spoon after that. It comes naturally, dude. I hope you're listening, whoever you are, wherever you are. I hope you're listening. It's organic, man. It's organic. I don't know where it comes from. Neither does anybody else. It's just the way that it is. Spoon. Spoon. What a great word. Spoon. Means so many different things. Let's see. Where are we? Let's go. On this day in history, 1982. We all remember this one. John DeLorean is arrested in a $24 million cocaine deal, set up, entrapment, the whole shot to finance his car company. He was talked into it. Later, everything was dropped. Charges were dropped because he was entrapped and sucked into it. The question is, I mean, would he have done that if the feds weren't involved and that's the whole thing with entrapment, and that's what they did. John DeLorean. Man, that was a crazy case, wasn't it? Fader facts. Oh, I don't have one. I don't have a Fader fact today. I didn't do it. Oh, man, somebody tweet out a Fader fact and I'll read it. Give me a Fader fact. Who's got a good fact? Give me a fact in Twitter. And I'll spoon bending kit. That's pretty cool. Okay. Somebody give me a Fader fact, and I'll read it on the air. Let's get to all of the news that you know nothing about. This is one of the craziest stories like ever. Russia has reportedly run tests to see if it can remove itself from the World Wide Web. Yes. They want to stem the flow of information to and from foreign countries. And experts told the UK Daily Telegraph that the tests were run to prepare for an information blackout in case of a potential domestic political crisis. The attempt to cut Russia off from the internet has stoked fears about the Kremlin stripping internet freedoms from its citizens. Yes, the general director of the Russian internet provider that's ER Telecom, told the newspaper that it was ordered by the Ministry of Communications and Russia's national internet regulator, Roskomnadzor, to block traffic from foreign communications channels by using DPI, a traffic control system. The goal was to see if Russia's internet could continue to function even though it was cut off from the global internet. Okay, let's see. Rod just sent me in a Fader fact. I'm going to read this live. Okay, you ready? If a lemon is picked before it becomes ripe, it turns into a baby turtle. That's a Fader fact. Yes. Oh, here's another Fader fact from Norik. There are twice as... turtle. Oh, my goodness. Fader fact, there are twice as many human ears on the planet as there are human people. Are you guys insinuating that my fader facts are funny or not serious? Come on. Okay, let's see. Fader fact. Wednesday, October 21st, 2015 will be the day we catch up. Oh, man. Hey, what about this Back to the Future Part 2 and the Cubs winning the World Series? Would that be absolutely nutso crazy, weird stuff? Seriously. That opens up the doors, doesn't it? Yeah. Let's see, where am I at? KIC 846-2852. What is that number? What does that mean? KIC 846-2852. Yes, that is the star that Kepler and the world is watching right now. And okay, let me just say it like this we reading off the newswire, which I don't really do. I write my own stuff, but nonetheless, we are on the brink. I was on with Betsy Lewis earlier today on her show Rainbow Vision, and I have to say that I feel like this is what I feel like in my soul. I feel like we are at one of the most important turning points in history right now. There is something going on, and we have found it. When scientists, physicists, astronomers around the world, professionals, have dropped their guard and are now using words like alien megastructure, right? Something is going on. Michio Kaku doing his thing into mass media, staying guarded but excited too as well, and others. There is something going on. Now, let me explain a couple of things really quick, and I know I talk about it a lot on this show, including my little diatribe from a couple of weeks ago, which is this. Kepler, in its vision, when it's looking, Kepler can see approximately, depends on what's out there, but about 150,000 stars. It's running software. It's watching all of these stars. It's looking for slightest deviations in brightness. That's what it's looking for. It's looking for the light to change. And it does it so well and so quickly that it can scan and see. It's looking for about when a planet is in orbit around a star, right? And it cranks around the star. You get about a 1% reduction in light. That's what Kepler's scanning for. 100,000, 150,000 stars at a time. And it's doing it constantly. And when something happens, boom, it can zero in and it measures and it says, hey, there's a star with a planet around it. Well, KIC 846-2852 is running with a 20, that's a 2 and a 0, a 20% deviation. It's never happened before. It is scanning 150,000 stars at a time. It knows what's going on. Things are consistent. Things are happening. This is 20%. Now, in everything that I've researched, everything that I have read out there, there's been some slips in how do I want to say this? I think I want to say this correctly. Things that these professionals probably didn't mean to say because they know something and they just don't want to go too far with it. But I've heard comments like rectangular. Now, I don't know how they would be able to determine the shape of something. You know, I don't. Measuring the amount of light top and bottom, and maybe they're on the sides, and maybe they are able to determine a shape. But a 20% inconsistent deviation is crazy, and that's why they're going artificial. It's not a little planet or a planet in orbit around a star. It is something else, and that's why they are freaking. I am telling you, I feel strange, and I feel strange because everything that was leading up to this, the announcement from Stephen Hawking and his Russian billionaire buddy and the $100 million promise that in the next 10 years we're going to make contact. SETI saying they're swinging all of their radio telescopes in the direction of KAIC 846-2852. But when we have something to focus on, we have a point in the sky, an actual object to point at and observe. We are collecting data constantly now. And the crazy thing about this, discovered by amateur astronomers that were out there using their computers to look at the Kepler data. Yeah. And remember what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago with Heather Lynn. Amateur archaeologists are respected, and here we go. Could be one of the greatest discoveries ever. This is it. We got the moon landing in 1969. And I disagree with Michio Kaku, by the way. Oh, this is the greatest discovery since Columbus discovered America. Well, that was a misstatement because that wasn't great at all. That was a nothing. It's already been discovered. But going back, I don't know if there has been something this great. If it turns out to be what it is it the greatest discovery ever in the history of everything? Are we at that point? I feel a little funny. We had reports of a couple of months ago, if you remember, with the musical tones that were being listened to from SETI. We've had a few things leading up to this, and then now we have this. Something is going on, and we're going to find out really quick. All right, back to the news. Where am I? I'm sorry to have headed sideways so hard on that, but I feel strange. I have been dreaming about this the last couple of nights. I go to bed thinking about this the last few nights. It's all everybody is talking about. Mass media, television, it's just every web. It's where it's at right now. Something is going on. The FBI and the Secret Service are investigating reports that non-government personal accounts associated with CIA Director John Brennan, as well as Department of Homeland Security Secretary Jed Johnson, were hacked. The New York Post first interviewed the alleged hacker who said he accessed an AOL account associated with Brennan that included files regarding his security clearance application, and the hacker also claims to have accessed a Comcast account associated with Johnson. The alleged hacker said he was motivated by both politics and by the desire to shame the government. AOL. I just gotta say, I didn't know they still existed. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kelly Sullivan is with us. She'll be in here in just 2 short minutes. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. When I come back, we'll be joined by Kelly Sullivan. It's a dreams kind of night here on Fade to Black. I'll be back right after this. Stay right there.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Today, everybody, the Fadernauts and planet Earth is vaping, and I'm very proud to announce our very own e-juice. When we were approached by City of Angels Vapor about Fade to Black e-juice, I wanted to make sure that it was the very best and that the flavors were something that I could create myself, and we did just that. Introducing Fade to Black Fader Loops. This will take you right back to Saturday morning cartoons and your favorite bowl of fruity, loopy cereal. Just click on the banner or go to www.coavapor.com. Enter the promo code JimmyLive. That's Jimmy, L-I-V-E, for the Fadernaut special. The website, coavapor.com. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
Imagine no longer being tied down to your computer, but having the freedom to take live talk radio with you anywhere you go. TalkStream Live introduces our first ever iPhone application. The talk shows you follow now follow you. And your iPhone is now the fastest and easiest way to stay connected to the best talk radio on the internet. Let TalkStream Live transform the way you listen to radio. Listen to live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Mobile talk radio from TalkStream Live. Now available in the iTunes App Store.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
All right, you Fadernauts. Studio Dome has done it once again. A new Studio Dome Fadernaut special. Introducing the Studio Dome Boom Box Bluetooth speaker. It's got a rear-firing bass film subwoofer and dual 52mm main speakers. You'll never listen to your tablet or cell phone speakers again. Just click on the Studio Dome banner, use the promo code Jimmy, and you'll get the SBB for $49 and free shipping. And get a Buddy 4-port USB charger for free. That's a $19.99 value right there. And they'll throw in a Buddy in the box. It's the best deal on the net anywhere. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner, enter the promo code Jimmy. Go Beckley Teppy.
Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kelly Sullivan Walden is here. Tomorrow night, Michael Gregorian, right here, comedian, UFO guy, live in the studio. Kelly Sullivan Walden is on a mission to awaken the world to the power of dreams. Kelly is the #1 best-selling author of I Had the Strangest Dream, and It's All in Your Dreams, Dream Oracle Cards, and the newly released Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dreams and Premonitions. She is also a certified clinical hypnotherapist, inspirational speaker, and founder of Dream Life Coaching Training. Kelly has reached millions of people with her inspiring message on national talk shows such as Dr. Oz, Ricky Lake, The Real, Bethany, Huffington Post Live, Coast to Coast AM, Fox News, and tonight, for the first time, I would like to welcome to Fade to Black, Kelly Sullivan. Kelly, Walden is there. Is it because there's other Kelly Sullivans out there and you need to drop Walden in to separate you from all the other Kelly Sullivans?
Oh, my Lord, that is a loaded question. I don't, okay, I guess you threw me off.
I have
the
to.
thing is I figure when you get married, this isn't a dream-related thing at all, but when you get married and you're a woman, why should you have to lose your name? Shouldn't you gain something? Shouldn't something be added to you, not taken away? So I really struggled. I was going to just be Kelly Walden, but that was like cutting off a limb. So I just folded in my old middle name, which was Ann, and I made it Kelly Sullivan Ann Walden. I didn't want to lose anything. I wanted to gain something. So it was very symbolic. And I know it's a lot of syllables, hard to deal with, but, you get used to it after a while.
Well, if I throw you off your game with the first question, I'm doing my job, right?
I love you. Thank you so much.
No, thank
you. That was fun.
Well,
nobody's ever asked me that.
That's that makes me feel great, actually, and hopefully I'll do that more tonight. I do this with every guest, and you probably have heard me do this so many times, but you get it right now. The disclaimer is you're the first, it's your first time on the show. It's just you and I sitting on my couch talking as friends. Where we start, we start. Where we end, and we end as friends. Are you ready to go?
I am. I'm picturing us like in the dark with a blanket over our heads with a flashlight. Like, I don't know, with the little kids. Like, I don't know. Maybe that's naughty, but I don't mean it in a naughty way.
Well, I actually have a blankie and a flashlight right now, so there you go.
I like it. That sounds like fun.
Well, when it comes to dreams, I think that all of us, struggle with it. If it is something that we're dealing with, we struggle with it, but we've always had questions about it. For you, why did you decide to take that turn in your life to go in and research and investigate and be the go-to person in dreams? What happened? Was it when you were young? Did this start to happen? Tell me about it.
It was not a deliberate process at all. It was incredibly organic, and it was something that I've always done since I was a kid. Dreams have always been fascinating to me. I had a unique upbringing, kind of a situation. I've got 4 sisters. My sister that's closest to me in age, Shannon, she and I always shared a fascination with dreams and sometimes had tandem dreaming experiences when we were growing up. So because of that, and what a tandem dreaming experience means for those who haven't heard of such a thing, it's where you find yourself in a similar dream and you're aware of it. So it's sort of like lucid dreaming, and we would sometimes have lucid dreams where we would both be aware that we were both in the dream, but we would also share dreams that we weren't in, but we would know the same dream characters that didn't exist in our waking lives, and we would know what happened to each other before we finished telling the story. So our dreams were a way that we psychically became connected to one another. And over the years, I'm really close with all of my sisters. I love all my sisters, but this particular sister and I, it's like we share a brain, we share a soul in many ways, where that got me started just being fascinated with dreams and knowing that there was for sure more to them than met the eye, and paying attention to them seemed to be like a code that would open the door to a secret realm that made life magical. And it gave me a sense of, I was a really shy kid, and I felt disempowered as a kid. I was just a nervous kid, and there was something about knowing my dreams and knowing about this other realm that I had access to it started over time giving me a sense of confidence and a sense of, I know stuff and I have access to stuff. And so whatever's happening in my waking life, I felt that there was some other source of empowerment that I had. And then that was all very personal. And then about 20 years ago, I became a certified clinical hypnotherapist and began working with other people via their subconscious mind. And with that, I started realizing how much my clients were dreaming, because hypnotherapy kind of stirs the pot, and people would share their dreams with me, and I started paying attention to other people's dreams and using this way of looking at dreams that was really, I didn't realize it at the time, but it turns out it was really empowering to people. It would give them this boost of confidence, and I would share that with them in therapy, and eventually I started writing books about it, and I kind of backed my way into it. I never sought out to be a dream expert. It was something that people just kept telling me that I was good at and that I had a sense about and that I should do something with. And when you hear that enough, eventually you start paying attention and writing about it, and now that's what I do. Now I've kind of owned it, and I've written 8 books, 4 of them on dreams, and I can't get enough of it. It continues to fascinate me even now, every day.
Have you found your bliss? Is this what you were meant to do?
I would say so. People think I'm a big kid. I'm not tuned out to the drama of the world, but I feel like there is definitely a sense of bliss, and that kind of ties into the dream I had about you last night, Jimmy.
Well, let's get to that in a second.
But really, I mean, one thing I got to say is, because some people come to see me for sessions, and some people say, Kelly, you're not just a dream person. And I say, no, it's really, to me, it's about the soul. But dreams, to me, are one way of accessing the mojo of the soul in a very tangible, unique, custom tailored way for each person, instead of it being this vague thing that we all have a soul and we all want to be more spiritual. Dreams give us this very direct access to how to be more connected to our soul and our spirit. So it's more about the spirit and the soul, but dreams are the vehicle that I use. They're my tarot cards, so to speak.
What do you do? I don't know how many doctors operate on themselves or diagnose themselves, or physicians. And I know you know where I'm going with this. Do you have somebody that you consult about your dreams?
I do, actually. I've got a few people that are very close to me, my sister being one of them, and my husband being another. He's definitely the one that hears most of my dreams every day. But I do have my two of my dearest friends hear my dreams, and it never ceases to fascinate me that the perspective that they provide me, that I can't see. I heard this quote that we all have a particular blindness to ourselves, and no matter how astute we may be in a particular area, it does benefit us to get a reflection from somebody else that can see us more objectively. So I think I can figure out my dreams pretty well, but the moment I share it with one of these wise people that I surround myself with, I'm always blown away. Always.
Do you argue with them?
My husband I argue with, because he argues with my point of view about dreams most of the time. There are exceptions to the rule, but most of the time my go-to interpretation is that, just like what Carl Jung, the late great father of psychotherapy, would say, is that everyone in our dreams is us. Everything and everyone is us. And my husband often says, that's bullshit. No. Sorry, excuse me, I didn't mean to cuss. Forgive me, beep me.
You've been beeped.
Bleep. So he will say, no. He doesn't agree. He thinks that most of these dreams, especially if they're really big, they're not just about ourselves, they're about other people. I think it's often both. So I will argue with him, but not my friends. They're too kind. They don't give me anything to argue with.
What about the responsibility of that kind of analysis with a client? Is it something that you bear, or how do you deal with that? Because you could be potentially changing somebody's life or altering.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think that's a great question, by the way, and that question does come up, and people bring that question up often sometimes with a lot of anger, actually, like, how dare you write a dream dictionary that claims to interpret people's dreams. Everyone is unique, and how dare you?
Right.
And I've had some of those, like, people kind of like gonna like throw blood at me or something, like I'm a witch, or I don't know. But I tell people, hello, if you read the introduction to my book, the disclaimer is that my way of working with people is always to bring them back to their own empowerment, and to always defer to a person's own wisdom. The reason why somebody like me can come in handy for a while, eventually I would like to work my way out of a job and have people become so awakened to their own dreams that they don't need me. However, most people I deal with, or people that come to see me, they interpret their dreams from such a negative perspective. They look at their dreams kind of like the way they look at most things in their life, like everything points to that there's something wrong with them, that they're broken in some way, and that life is out to get them, and that they're all alone in a big scary world. And I look at dreams from the opposite perspective. Your dreams are your ally. Your dreams are helping you. They're trying to connect you with your soul. And anything that's chasing you, anything with fangs that's trying to bite you or eat you or connect with you, it's often a disowned part of yourself that is a shadow aspect that's a part of your power that if you run from it, it's just going to keep on chasing you. So it's ultimately a very positive thing. So I do tell people, look, take what I have to say as something that stimulates your own wisdom. If you like what I have to say, then keep it. If it empowers you, keep it. If it doesn't, then consider that you're one step closer to understanding what your dream may mean before you toss it away or think that it means that there's something wrong with you.
Well, so you tweeted out today, and I was surprised to read it because it seemed, fairly personal, but you had said, I dreamed about going on Jimmy Church's show tonight. And that was all the tweet said. Now,
yeah.
What did that mean? What? Not necessarily what was the dream about. I mean, you can keep that to yourself, but what you had to go back and analyze it, I'm sure. So what did it mean for you?
The way I deal, so there was something actually about Sean David Mortensen. Do you know him?
Yes.
You probably do. So what was happening in the dream was I was hearing this song, Take Me to Church, over and over and over. And I know you and I talked a little bit about that song. I love that song. And ever since I knew I was going to be talking with you, that song has been on my mind. And last night it was just booming from the rafters. And we were in a studio, so it's very much like, often our dreams will be kind of literal. If we know we're going to do something the next day, our dream will help to kind of align us with that. So it wasn't shocking that I found myself in a dream with you, even though I've not met you in person.
Right.
But we were in this kind of studio it was huge. It didn't have walls, really. It was just kind of out in the middle of space, sort of. And Sean David Mortensen was showing up. I think we were interviewing him. He was kind of floating around. There was something like that. But there was this cleansing that we were doing. There was this, what is this, spray cleanser? Somebody was saying something about home invasions. And then I was looking at this piece of art that was so beautiful. And I was saying something like, it was, oh God, I wish I could remember exactly the words, but it was like blissful inspiration. I don't know, but it felt like that was the pinnacle of where we were headed in our conversation, cleansing and clearing all kinds of junk that came from people's homes being invaded, and then leading them to this place of being kind of inspired and euphoric and awesome.
That's actually kind of interesting. Well, it is interesting, but the painting. Do you remember? Because I have artwork hanging here in the bunker. I actually have paintings hanging in the studio. It tripped me out. Do you remember what any of the painting was of? Wow, this could get really cosmic here in a second.
All I know is, it was kind of, the space was dark, and I know that it was to my right, and I was looking up at it, and there was something that sparkled, that glittered, kind of glistened, but there was a dark background, so it stood out. And as I'm saying now, and this could be me just being like kind of creatively elaborating, I don't know that exactly this, but it felt like there was kind of like I'm thinking of the Virgin Mary, like the Guadalupe, like the big head of the mother that's kind of wrapped in something, and it was spiritual. It gave me a feeling of it inspired me and made me feel healed somehow. And funny that I was hearing the Take Me to Church, so maybe there was something kind of church-like, but not not dogmatic. It felt like it was literally like a church without walls.
But did you say there was a head that was wrapped in something?
Yes.
Oh man, I'm gonna take a picture. Just watch Twitter. I'm gonna take a picture of one of the pieces of artwork that is to my left. But if you were in my studio, it would be to your right.
Mm-hmm.
And if this doesn't flip you out, the audience is going to really, really try. I can't even believe. I was looking around and was like, okay, blissful. What? Head wrapped in a towel. Okay, so I'm going to post this picture up in just a second. Actually, Rita, if you want to come out of your studio and come into here, snap a picture of, I don't want to say what this is out loud, but snap a picture of this and post it up on Twitter for everybody, and it's going to flip everybody out. That's pretty interesting. That's pretty interesting. Well, now,
cool.
I can't wait to start taking calls and opening up the phone lines. We'll do that in about 40 minutes. Everybody, just relax. We'll get to it. One of the things that I talk about a lot on this show is my ability to pick up a dream usually a reoccurring one, and I have 2 or 3 that I do all the time. It's like putting in a videotape or a DVD. I'm able to pick up and start where I left off, or I can start at the beginning of the dream and go off and running. And I have that ability. I've always been able to do that, and I enjoy it. And it's one of the ways that I get to sleep is I know that I can just go, okay, all right, you know what? Let's start right here. Boom. And I can do that. Is that something that is common?
In some ways it is, and in some ways it's not. I know that when we get into the brain state that we're in when we're just about to go to sleep, there is kind of a picking up where we left off. In some way we're in the same place, we're in the same, especially if we're, in the same bed, in the same place. If we're traveling all over, probably not as much. But there is sometimes a sense of, oh yeah, I remember this, and there's some vague recollection, but for it to be really clear and for you to have that level of consciousness as you re-enter the dream and you kind of know deliberately that you're going back in and you can pick up the dream, that's impressive. That's not as common. Usually it's like a flavor, a sense. Most people wish they could, and they have a difficult time. That wouldn't be considered lucid dreaming, but that would be considered a step in the direction, like a big step in the direction of lucid dreaming, to be able to do what you're doing. Because if you can do that, then you know that you're dreaming. The official definition of lucid dreaming is knowing that you're dreaming while you're dreaming, and then doing something with that. So that's pretty close, and that's amazing. So that just means that according to the Dream Science Foundation, you would be considered someone with thin walls, kind of like the studio in my dreams that I saw.
Interesting.
Thin to 0 walls.
Well, I thought that it was normal. I never really thought about it. I don't discuss this with anybody or my friends, but I thought that, it was just a thing, and it wasn't that big of a deal. And I didn't think it was that unique.
I think the part that would be in common with most people is that there might be a familiar feeling, a familiar scenario, a familiar aspect, but not necessarily knowing that, oh, here we are picking up the dream where we left off and then continuing it. That's pretty rare. It's not, I have heard of this before. It's not like I've never heard of that, but to have it be that clear that's the issue. We all dream every single night, and often we all have our own cast of characters and our own recurring places that we visit, and human beings are habit makers, and we have habits by day and habits by night, and there's places that we do return to and relationships that we do return to, but often those scenarios do change slightly. It's not stable. Carl Jung, as I said before, the late great father of psychotherapy, he had such a stable reality in his dream that he literally had a house that he would go to that was in a neighborhood with a school, with a lake, with people that were all for sure part of this dream that had absolutely nothing to do with his waking reality. And he would always go back in and pick up the dream where it left off, and it was as if he was truly living another life. So I think in many ways we are living another life, and it's really cool and special when you have an awareness of it, as you're describing that you do sometimes in this reality, when you can bridge the gap between those two realities.
One of the things I want to talk about after the break is dreaming of the future or dreaming of an event and then, later on, dozens of years later or months later, that it actually happens or a scene. And I want to ask you about that because growing up, I had this absolute reoccurring dream, also daydream too as well, of a house that I wanted to design because I was into architecture and stuff when I was a kid, and I took those classes in school, and I had a very specific idea for this house. And it not to describe the house or anything like that, that would be boring. But I had this reoccurring thing, and it was constant. And I had always thought that one day I would live in this house, and it was so specific with the lawn and the background. And I would always have this same frontal kind of angled front view of the house that was constant. And then one day I'm watching cable television 10 years ago, and that very shot that I have been dreaming about since I was 8 popped up on television. And it was a house that was in Holland, done by a famous architect, but that was just recently built. And so it wasn't like I had seen it 30 years ago or 40 years ago. But I sat and I stared at the screen, and I could not believe what I was seeing. It was exact down to the blades of grass. How is that possible? And is that something that happens all the time?
Should we talk about this now or when we come back from the break?
Well, you can give me a yes or no.
I think it's very, very cool. It's very special, and it feels like, from my perspective, my 2 cents are that you've got a very special energy with this house, and it could be a metaphor, but it's also feels like it's got soul wrapped all around it as a metaphor and as an actual thing. And I think it could be a past life connection that you're dreaming about, as well as something. When you have a recurring dream and you see it show up in reality, it's like the universe is saying, here's the cosmic highlighter pen. Pay attention to this. This is symbolic of something very important for you.
Sure.
Pay attention. There's some healing going on here, or something future moving for you. Important. Pay attention. Don't go to sleep on me. This is big.
Well, yeah, I had also at that moment, I was trying to resolve it because it just seemed impossible. And the only thing that I could think about was that maybe in some cosmic sense that architect and I were connected, that our brains were that I was connected to this guy somehow, and either what I was dreaming about connected to him and he designed the house, or vice versa. Maybe he was designing this house growing up, in his mind's eye too as well.
Or maybe he took credit for your creative idea, and you need to hunt him down and get your percentage. Just kidding.
The thief. I'm being silly. The thief. Yeah.
The thief, dream thief. No, but seriously, to me, a remembered dream, especially when when something coincides with it in your waking reality, it requires some form of action. You've got to do something with that, more than just talk about it. Like follow up with that guy, find out where that house is, maybe plan a trip and go there. It's like a clue that's leading you somewhere. It's like this magical treasure hunt, and this is a really important clue. So, research on who the architect is, research on are you Dutch? Do you know anybody that's Dutch? Are you Van Gogh? Do you love Van Gogh? Are you connected to this type of architecture? How can you bring some element of that, the way that house felt or looked, into your current living situation? There's always some doing that leads to the next thing that leads to the next thing. And this is how, by the way, life becomes truly magical. As my friend Felix Wolf says, when you live your life paying attention to the dream synchronicities, life is not a problem to be solved. It's a magical treasure hunt to be followed with curiosity. And if you do that, then you are led outside of the realm of where the problems and stumbling blocks of life reside, where the magic really exists. And it's an accelerated way of living. So to me, this house for you holds a key to that juice. So there's more to be explored here from my perspective, if I were you, if it were my dream.
Let's take a quick break. Interesting. And I had always planned on drawing that house. And doing it, dreams have stopped. I'll be back right after this. This is Fade to Black tonight. Kelly Sullivan Walden is with us. I'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Did you ever turn to your radio for your favorite talk show to find that it's been preempted for this?
In the air to deep right center. Back goes Lewis to the wall, and it's out of here!
Or this?
And I'm ashamed of you, Hillary, for voting for it.
Do you have a favorite talk radio program that's not available in your city? Just go to TalkStreamLive.com for links to the best streaming talk radio shows. At TalkStream Live, you will find live talk shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All your favorites are here. With such a large selection, you will also discover some new favorites. On the go and still want to listen? With the mobile smartphone, simply type TalkStream Live on your internet browser. Now you can take internet radio with you. You will also find hundreds of music, news, and sports streams. Best of all, the TalkStream Live directory is free and there's never a login required. Remember TalkStreamLive.com, the fastest route between you and your favorite talk radio show.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kelly Sullivan is with us. It's all dreams all night on Fade to Black. Tomorrow night, we're going to have a comedian live in the studio, but no jokes. Michael Gregorian is going to be here, and it will be an all UFO Anunnaki type of evening tomorrow night. I'll try to get Michael to crack some jokes. Kelly, one of the things that I need to go, I know that you address this every single time, but I need to go to the source on this, and I've seen this pop up now a few times on Twitter, is flying dreams. We all have them. I don't have them anymore, but I had the same dream growing up, me flying in my backyard above a playground, looking at my friends and neighbors in this sandbox, and I couldn't get them to look up and notice me. So I would stay up there all day and just watch them. And I had that was the only flying dream I ever had. But I had it, hundreds of times. What is it about flying dreams?
I'm going to answer this question differently than I've ever answered it before, because we started off the night differently than I've ever done any radio show before, so here I go. Our lives, if we look at our lives from a rational perspective, there's so much drama. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of suffering. There's a lot of stuff that people could feel really hopeless about. I think we have flying dreams to remind us that we are more than this, that we are more than the drama, we're more than the pain, we're more than the suffering. And it also, I think, encoded in our flying dreams is a solution that is very relevant for our unique way of being able to rise above. So you flying, Jimmy, in your own way, it's like just the thought of you flying. I bet, and I know this is it's like this for me, and I would imagine it's like this for almost anybody. If you remember the feeling in that flying dream, the way that you flew, the way that you were able to hover and get above the gravitational force, there's something about that it connects the neurons in the brain in such a way that has you psychologically, spiritually also figure out how to rise above and get beyond whatever would weigh you down. And some people get really good at it. And in some ways, and I don't mean that this is not to flatter your ego at all, so cover up your ego's ears, but you're here to be a messenger. You're here to bring people up and above and beyond whatever is weighing them down in many ways. And you're up high. And in some ways, you want to bring other people up there with you. It's no fun to fly alone all the time. You want to elevate other people. And sometimes it's difficult when people are really stubbornly, gravitationally hanging on to the ground and focused on whatever is lower. And you're like, dude, people, hey, I'm up here. Come find me. So in some ways, you're up here as a role model, and that feeling of flying, I think, is an energetic roadmap for how you're meant to be in some way every day, and to go beyond that.
Did you see the picture that was posted in Twitter?
I did.
Is that pretty weird?
It's pretty trippy.
Yeah, pretty weird.
I would say, from, as I said, I didn't wake up with a complete perfect memory of the picture, but it was definitely a big head. It was in my, I was raised Catholic. I'm a recovering Catholic as we speak. I'm not Catholic anymore, but
most of us
are. I do love the symbolism of like the Virgin Mary, the Guadalupe, and so to me it was like a feminine version of this. But the one on the right, not the one with the coffee cup, but the one on the right, is a lot more along the lines of what I envisioned.
Oh, no. You need to refresh or scroll. No, there's a picture of a guy, his name's Zoltan, with something on his head.
What?
Yes, that's what you need to see.
Lord have mercy. I usually don't multitask when I do interviews. So, okay, I'm looking at my notifications, and who sent it out? Okay,
let's see here. Hold on. You know what? I normally don't do this in real time either. So
yeah, I've got Kat. Is it Kat? There's a bunch of people that have been tweeting.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can get this to you here.
See how well we can multitask here at the same time.
You gotta love technology, and this is live radio. Okay, now check your feed. See if you've got that.
Okay, is it coming in from you? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now are you tripping?
Now we're talking.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, and my point is, I don't.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't have pictures of cars.
Oh my God!
No, I have very specific paintings in here, and for you to, and that would be on your right if you were in my studio.
Yeah.
You would be facing me, and and it's a large painting, and it's right there.
Okay, that is bizarre.
Yeah.
So I saw it was more of a feminine face, but there was definitely that headdress. There was a headdress for sure. And the eyes, I think, were a little softer, not quite as intense as those eyes. But you know what, the frame around it, that kind of fleur-de-lis kind of frame.
Yeah.
That feels incredibly. I mean, I wish I don't draw my dreams. Every once in a while I do, and I wish I had drawn this one. But it was that part of it really stands out. So if I cut out his eyes and really just look at the headdress and that fleur-de-lis, that looks like spot on.
Wow.
What I saw last night.
When I was looking around the studio and I was like, okay, whoa, pump the brakes. Time to stop the bus. But there you go. What about if constantly having a dream, whatever, it doesn't matter, family, friends, whatever, monster, and suddenly that dream stops and you never have it again. Is that something we need to take note of?
So say that again. So if you're having a dream that's intense, but then you never have it again?
No, you've had it multiple times. You know.
Oh, gotcha. So recurring dream, and then it stops. Well,
yes.
In some way, recurring dreams are like an important message that's trying to be sent, and it'll continue to come to you until you receive it. So in some way, you could consider it to be a reward that you don't have that dream anymore, because in some ways it's as if the universe is saying, you've embodied this, let's move on to something else.
Interesting.
If it keeps recurring in some way, it's a little, I mean, I joke and say it's embarrassing when I have certain recurring dreams, because it's like, oh my God, haven't I learned this? Haven't I figured this out? It's like Groundhog's Day.
Right.
Some dreams we miss, if it's a particularly delicious dream, or like the flying dream that you were talking about. Sometimes we do miss those dreams, but they can come back in another form. But if there's a particular dynamic that's playing out and then all of a sudden it abruptly stops, perhaps with this flying dream, one of the energies of it that you described was trying to get people to see you when they wouldn't see you. Well, maybe you scratch that itch and you feel that people do see you now, or you don't need them to see you. You can just fly without needing anybody's approval or anybody to come along with you. You're happy. So something shifts. Our dreams are like a Rorschach test in many ways. They're definitely showing us how we're doing and where we need improvement and what's next for us. And so from my perspective, when we complete a recurring dream, that means it stops recurring and we get to move on to a new assignment.
I had a friend a couple of years ago. He comes up to me and he says, Jimmy, man, I had a dream about you last night. I said, really? And he goes, yeah, I was, you owned a music store with all these guitars in it. And I come over and I pick out a guitar and you and I are going to jam on stage. You had a setup to play. And I kept picking out another guitar and another guitar and another guitar. And we never played. I wanted to get up on stage, and as soon as we would start to play, I would change guitars. And he said,
"Man, this is his dream. This is not your dream.
That's
his dream that has you in it."
But this was the funny part. I have dreams like that all the time, where I've got guitars and I'm about to play with somebody, right? Van Halen or whatever, pick some band or a friend or whatever, and I never get to the point of actually playing. I got to retune the guitar. I got to change a string. and it was just funny how I have those frustrating dreams all the time, and he hit me with that. Is that something that people have? Does that happen where they're almost about to get to that point in the dream that they're dreaming about, but then it never concludes?
Well, there's two parts to this. There's the aspect of it that you have this recurring dream, and then he had this dream about you. So to me, kind of like how my sister and I would have these common dream themes about each other and for one another, to me that at the very least says that you two are very in tune. He's a soul brother of yours, and that's a special relationship, and pay attention and nurture that relationship, because it's pretty special that happened. And secondly, there's that saying, paralysis through analysis. If I was interpreting this dream, I would say, where in your life are you trying to be a perfectionist about making the next step or getting out there and stretching your wings a little bit further? And often people that are really good at something or really take pride in what they do, they'll have dreams like this where they're really trying to get it right, and yet they prevent themselves from not being able to actually go to the next level. So dreams are such amazing things, because they're showing, maybe this dream is telling you, Jimmy, you're good enough. Like it's enough. Take the leap. Go to the next level. Take off. Play. Enough perfectionism, dotting the I's and crossing the T's. Does that show up in your life? Do you feel like you are kind of a perfectionist?
Yeah, total perfectionist. But then when I like to look at myself that way, but then I think I'm also rounding at the edges as I get older. I'm letting the perfectionist side kind of slip a little bit, and I think it's okay to be, a little unpolished, a little dirty, To
fumble toward ecstasy.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I mispronounce words all the time. I mess stuff up, and I used to or whatever, in life, and now I don't care. We only have so many days left on this planet.
Amen, brother.
Yeah, and I just don't stress, man. I don't care. Everybody's imperfect, and I am certainly one roughed up, imperfect person. So, but yeah, I used to be a perfectionist.
I love the term, and we'll send this out to the peeps that are listening that are tweetables. The hashtag Flossom. It's one of my favorite words. When I went on the Bethany TV show, the producer said, please make a mistake, please trip, please fall, please stumble, because that ends up helping our rating. So we have a saying around here that we embrace all the flaws, and we want there to be flaws. And often the more we want them, the less they happen, because we embrace them so much that everything goes really smoothly. But we do celebrate it when there's a flaw. So flossom, it's like the flaw is awesome.
Wow.
And that was great. And it's like some people, I think we could all stretch out a little bit more if we embraced our mistakes and made more mistakes. Like if we didn't make at least 10 mistakes a day, then we would get in trouble. We would get upset with ourselves.
Well, that makes me totally embraceable and celebratable then.
Yes, me too.
Now, let me indulge myself for a second. I'm going to ask you some personal things about myself. One of the reoccurring dreams that I've had that used to be really, really, really frightening to me was this dream that I was going up these stairs that were a tunnel at the very, very top, maybe 100 yards up, good distance, was, the little white square, the end of the hallway, the top of the stairway, if you will. And I think I specifically know where the stairway might have been, but it's concrete, okay? Concrete ceiling, concrete walls painted black, stairs going up to the top of this entrance. And walking from the bottom and starting the ascent up the stairs, trying to get to the top, but these pebbles, little tiny little rocks, would start falling from the top, and you could hear them plink, 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 plink. By the time they got to me, they would, and sometimes I would have friends with me, but by the time it got to me or us, they were whizzing by us like bullets, trying to hurt us, okay? And trying to stop me from getting up the stairs. And at times, it was a very, very, very frightening dream, and we couldn't control these. I would get about halfway, but never get to the top of the stairs, and I never completed that mission. And I could have this dream tonight. If I wanted to right now, after the show, go in there, close my eyes, and I could have this stupid dream again. What is the significance of this? And I can't shake it, and I can't get rid of it.
Well, I'm going to answer your question from a sideways place, because this will take us to a whole other place. This is for anybody who's listening that has a recurring dream, or any dream that wakes them up feeling frustrated or terrified or shaken to their core in some way. I mean, this dream doesn't sound like it's the most gory dream, but it sounds really painful and frustrating. The dream isn't over just because you woke up. My perspective is that dreams have a parallel reality, just like all kinds of aspects of our experience, our realities. They're happening concurrently with this one. And so just because we wake up doesn't mean that the dream is over. So we can, if we choose at any point, we don't have to become lucid dreamers per se to go into that dream and finish it and rearrange it. We can, because we know how to meditate, and we can remember the dream. If you can recall the dream and you know how to meditate, even on a very basic level, then you can finish this dream. So in this waking state, Jimmy, let me ask you, if you were back in this dream on this staircase with these pebbles coming down at you, and your desire and strong intent is to get up to the top of the staircase, up towards that white light at the top, and you suddenly became lucid in this dream and aware that you were co-directing, co-creating this dream, and you could change it, what would you do? How would you change this dream?
Wow. And I'm not so sure, because in reality, the the stairway that I'm talking about is a real stairway. It's in a it's in a bunker on an island down in South America. That's not the part of it. But I have ascended these stairs and come out at the top, which is at the top of the island, many times, 50 times. It was one of the things. But I know what's at the top. I know, how to get there in real life. But when I dream about it, and I'm answering your question directly in that I know what's at the top of you would think that I could complete the dream and go to the top and have fun with my friends at the top of the stairs.
But what do you do with those pebbles? How would you change that? If your strong intent is to get up there, in real life you don't have to deal with all those pebbles, but in your dream, these pebbles are coming flying at you, they're overwhelming you, and they're making it hard to climb. So how would you shift that in the dream? What would you do with those pebbles? Exactly.
And what I've always tried to figure out is it's somebody bad. It's somebody, somebody bad is throwing these pebbles. And I've always tried to figure that out. And it was always kind of evil to me. It was like it was otherworldly. Maybe even demonic is the right, something like that. Something frightening is throwing these pebbles down. And I've never been able to come to terms with that. And I suppose if I could figure out that angle of it, then maybe there would be some type of resolve, but that's it. And that was always the frightening thing for me with the dream, was that it wasn't a physical person or somebody that I knew. It was more of an invisible thing that I couldn't see that is throwing the pebbles down or starting. I don't know if they're throwing, but certainly starting them on their journey down the stairs.
Right. Well, here's one perspective to try on. And so Einstein said that the most important question we can ever ask is this universe friendly? And after years and years and decades of his own research, he came up with the answer, yes. Ultimately, even though there are difficulties and all kinds of strange things that happen in this universe, ultimately, it's friendly. So if you know that this universe ultimately is on your side, then you can look at the adversary in the dream. Like maybe it's not such an adversary, just like in real life, the people that challenge us the most and that seem to be out and out enemies, when we grow past them somehow, we are better and bigger for it. There's purpose in that struggle. So I often, if it were my dream, I would want to go to the source, and I would want to go and find that being, that energy, that person, whatever it is that's throwing the pebbles, and just have a direct conversation with them and say, what's up with the pebbles? What do you want me to learn? Let's just cut to the chase. Enough with this, like, stumbling around and not getting anywhere. Why are you doing this, and what are you trying to teach me so that it can make me better somehow? I know it's ultimately meant to make me better or to figure something out. So what is it? So just the first thing that comes to your head, why would this being be throwing these pebbles at you?
Interesting. I'm going to try it tonight. Well, I'm going to have to do this probably 4 or 5 times with 4 or 5 different dreams after this show.
Sometimes we do it in different ways, but we always, in my experience, the aha always comes when we realize, oh my God, this thing that we thought was so demonic or so out to get us. And I've got an example of one of these I can share with you if you'd like.
Sure.
Later, one of my own that was seemingly unbelievably demonic, but I found that it had a completely different face once I was able to work with it. It was not easy to get there, but once I did, it was really powerful. So let me know if there's room for that.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And I'm getting a text. When are we going to open up the phone lines? In just a bit. Let me do my dreams first, everybody. And
it's Jimmy's turn first, everybody.
Well, see, this is the thing. I am sure that these things that I'm talking about, that, everybody, not everybody, but most people would have similar dreams. So I'm hoping that your answer to me will help somebody else too. That
Absolutely.
is having.
You can't talk about a single dream without it relating to everybody. One shared dream is everybody's dream. We all benefit from them.
Okay, here's another one that I have all the time. It's one of my more fun experiences. Tends to be a different type of result, but I have this constantly, and I can go and start at the beginning and have a different result. But this is the dream. My wife and I, sometimes with friends, but certainly it starts off with her and I. We go to a pier, a port. I think it's here in Los Angeles, and we get on a nice boat. Sometimes it's more like a passenger liner, but sometimes it's like a big yacht. And we take off and we sail. Now, we go, for some reason, I see the Earth, and we go to, like, the South China Sea, like in between Australia and head into, like, India, into that area. That's the direction. But then we land at a port over there, and then we head up a mountain. And part of it is stairs, part of it is on a path, and part of it is on a road. And we head up the mountain to a very secret place. And it's usually has to do with E.T. There's like an E.T. vibe. Like E.T. is up there. It's a secret alien place that nobody's supposed to know about. I have this dream constantly. And the boat is sometimes made of gold. It's got a gold vibe to it, or maybe not gold as much as it would be ornate is the right word. It's fancy. We have this really nice suite, and we go into the suite, we talk, and then we head out, and we'll go through storms and craziness and go to this place, and then we hike up this mountain. But we never quite get to the E.T. place. We never get to the top secret thing. And when I say E.T., that might be the wrong word, but it's like a prohibited, I guess is the right word, restricted, place. And there you go. And that is, it's constant. It's a constant dream.
So all of these dreams that you've shared so far, I'm seeing some themes all throughout. So here's just my intuitive hunch, and I'm just going to blurt this out. So starting with your flying dream, I'm going to go backwards. You know how to fly. You know how to get to that high place. And yet there's this frustration in getting people to meet up with you there. And then when you talked about getting up the stairs, in real life, you know how to get up the stairs. You know where to go. You know how to do that. And yet there's this struggle to get there, and you're with other people that you're trying to bring up. In some way, I feel like with you and with all of us, but I'm going to just make you an example, you know how to get to this high place, and this high place would seem alien to our rational, normal way of being. It's out of this world. It's above and beyond the ordinary. You have access to it, and yet it's like we all know how to transcend. We all know the higher spiritual reality, and yet we forget. We play dumb. We completely have amnesia. And from time to time we wake up, but most of us are just sleepwalking, but we all could wake up in a second if we wanted to. So there's the game of hide and seek, and there's the game of let's go to all these boats and ports and all of these places to get up this mountain to this thing that's this mysterious, prohibited thing that would be transcendent, that would take us to another galaxy, that would take us to another reality, and having a difficult time getting there. But I would assert that all of this, including the alien or whatever that is so elusive, is all you. And we could say from the larger, so there's the macrocosm and the microcosm. in the microcosm, all of this is you. We're talking about your higher self that is elusive to you, and all the pebbles being thrown down at you, I'm skipping into the other dream, are the difficult challenges that you have to deal with that keep you from being able to get there. But it's all you, and you can transcend it at any time. But in a way, we want the game, we want the struggle. We, like they say that with like the journey of 1,000,000 miles, it's like we travel the world over to find the gold, only to realize that we've been sleeping on it the whole time. It's in our backyard the whole time. It's like you have all of this, and yet it's no fun if you don't have this game, if you don't bring everybody along the journey with you. So to me, this is all of these dreams, and even the rock and roll, getting up on the stage and playing. You know how to get on the stage, you know how to do it, and yet there's this, but we need to tinker a little longer. We need to figure this out. Oh no, it's so stressful. But no, you know how to get on the stage. You know how to transcend. And what's most alien to you and to all of us is our amazing power, is that part of us that is truly awake. Who would we be if we really woke up and stayed that way? It would freak us out. So we have to create all of these mazes and difficult things and planes, trains, and automobiles to figure out how to get there when we really could be there now if we wanted.
Well, my wife and I have certainly had one great, unbelievable 18-year journey together. We have done the most amazing, crazy, stupid things together, but we've done everything together. And she's always part of my dreams. Well, most.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I didn't hit the cough button, very unprofessional. But she's always there. And there was one...
It was Flossom.
Yes, it was Flossom. Is one of the other reoccurring dreams, and I would imagine that everybody has this. I can't be unique, but her and I we go to airports and sneak on airplanes, bypass, I'm not kidding about this, with no passports, usually no paying for tickets, and do this clandestine, illegal thing, skating around customs and getting out of the plane without plane tickets, and we'll fly all over the place, fly to 5 different cities in South America, skating the law, running around, and then flying back to Los Angeles. It is one of those, it is like this totally illegal fun thing. It's like Thelma and Louise, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. Like this partners in crime.
Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, exactly. Getting around and skating customs and skating the law and running from the police and getting on planes and talking our way into this and that, and then arriving in Buenos Aires and then doing stuff and just insanity. And where is that coming from? And I rather enjoy the dream, by the way. It's kind of fun, and I almost want to really do this in real life. We all know it's impossible, but I have the dream all the time. What is that telling me?
Oh, I love this dream. Well, to me, it tells me that adventure is a really important theme in your world. And I love the saying, if we're not living on the edge, we're taking up too much room. And
yeah, right.
And in many ways, this, we can do, our dreams are symbolic most of the time. Sometimes they can be very literal, and that's the exception to the rule, I believe. Mostly it's symbolic. So doing things that you're not supposed to do, everything about your radio show and what you stand for, Jimmy, is about stretching the boundaries of like living outside of the box and going beyond the normal, the terrestrial, the ordinary. So to me, energetically speaking, you're finding your own limits, your own inner, you didn't say a policeman, but you kept talking about the rules and clandestine and not supposed to. And so there's some part of us, all of us, even the radical rebels, we all have a sense of what the rules are. And we know where we're supposed to be, what safe looks like. And many of us find it's our purpose and it's our passion to figure out how to go beyond. So I think these dreams are showing you, they're navigating you, helping you to navigate your way beyond energetic boundaries, beyond symbolic boundaries, beyond kind of like the movie The Truman Show, how Truman isn't supposed to go, you know that movie, I'm sure you do. You have seen it, yes?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So in a way, it's very much like that. Like, no, you're not supposed to go there. Don't go there. Don't go there. And everything's trying to get him to stay. But there's some part of him that has to go beyond those limits. So it's like that. That's an archetype within many of us explorer types that are trailblazers. And we're compelled to go beyond. Even when everybody says, stop, don't go there. You have to go through the door marked, do not enter, to find out what that is. And you do it for yourself, and you do it for your listeners, and for all the others that want to go there too, because we're meant to stretch these boundaries. And it's meant to be a little bit difficult, because that's part of the gig in this dream that we're living in. This three-dimensional dream does have boundaries, does have edges, it does have form. And these dreams that you're having, I think, are helping you to figure out how to transcend beyond those boundaries on many levels, spiritually, metaphysically, and psychically, psychologically, etc.
Interesting. My wife just tweeted out, I'm not Louise. So there you go.
She's Bonnie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's true. Bad influence, and I love every minute of it.
And you're not Thelma.
No. Let's open up the phone
lines.
lines.
Maybe Brad Pitt, but not Thelma.
Yeah. Let's open up the phone lines before we run out of time. We'll get everybody in. 323-825-5045. If you would like to discuss your dream situation with Kelly Sullivan, 323-825-5045. Also, you can Skype in Fade to Black 14. I've got about 50 questions here that have been Skyped in. And so I'm going to, while I'm waiting for the phone calls to start rolling in, 323-825-5045. Let's get to some of these questions. Wow. Okay. Well, that just shows. I thought we were on a 20-second delay. Here come the phone calls. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going to take these in order. Everybody just stay right there. Here we go. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Kelly Sullivan.
Hello, Kelly. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you. Thanks for being on the show. It's fascinating what you're talking about this evening.
Thank you. What's your name?
Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Jimmy. How are you?
I'm doing good, Lisa. What have you got for Kelly?
Great. Well, I have a question for Kelly. I frequently have dreams in which initially I'm watching a series of events, take place, and sometimes they're rather unpleasant. And then the next thing I know, that series of events will replay, and I will be one of the characters, looking through their eyes in that series of events. So I already know what's going to happen, but I have to, and I try to find a way, to change the outcome if it didn't turn out well. But I know it's already going to happen because I just watched it in the dream moments earlier.
And I was just
wondering if you heard anything like that. I'm sorry?
Are you able to change the outcome in this dream when you replay it the second time when you're actually in it?
Sometimes I can. It seems like when I find myself inserted into the dream, I can change some things that I'd witnessed, that I had observed, and do things differently to try to change the outcome. But sometimes I don't even get to the outcome. I'll just wake up before I even reach the end.
Right. So I hear this a lot, that when the dream is unpleasant, we wake up because it's so disturbing. And my perspective, just as I was talking to Jimmy regarding his dream about being on the stairs with the pebbles coming down, when the dream is disturbing, to me, it's really important to finish that dream. A nightmare is considered an unfinished dream, and it's our job to finish the dream. Otherwise, we go through our lives feeling like we're limping or we're half whole. We're dealing with half a deck, so to speak. So when you So in some ways, one perspective of dreams is that we get to see the way our strategy for life. So one strategy, I would say, Lisa, that you have is you become the observer. That's a strategy where you just watch and see and try to figure out and kind of stay out of harm's way. But then there's times I would say from hearing your dream that you actually find yourself not being able to just be the observer, but actually being in the situation itself, and it's difficult. And then you're like, oh my God, now what do I do? So to me, what I would do in that situation is to wake up from that dream and figure out what you would do so that you don't have to be re-traumatized by this dream again and again. There's so many creative ways that we can close the loop on these dreams. Jimmy, can I give an example of one that I did because it was really freaky, and if I can do it on this one, anybody can?
Yeah, absolutely. And Lisa, thank you for the phone call.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so
Sure.
much.
So the nutshell is there was like a guy that was killing all these people, and he was demonic. I called the dream Cape Fear. He was like the Robert De Niro character in Cape Fear, and he was killing everybody, and I woke up because he was about to kill me. And I wanted to practice what I preached when I woke up, trying to figure out how would I change this dream, because this dream, it was so unsettling, I couldn't function the next day. And so what I did was I envisioned what was happening in the dream from a different perspective. I got sky high and looked at it from afar, and I noticed that everybody in the dream that was either being killed or had already been killed, they all had this kind of umbilical cord that connected them to a higher source, except for the killer guy, the Robert De Niro character. He was disconnected, and that was why he was going around killing everybody. So because it was my dream, I decided to reconnect this kind of umbilical cord sort of thing to source, his umbilical cord to source. And when I saw that happen in my redirected dream, I saw him change. I saw him become a kinder, softer, more awake version of himself, and then the threat was gone. So I dealt with the situation at its core. I didn't wish it away. I didn't run from him. I didn't put him in a box. I fixed what was missing in him. And so to me, it gave me this tremendous sense of confidence because I figured out how to deal with people and situations that are really acting from a demonic kind of a place. So I'm not scared anymore. And I also got to see if he's an aspect of myself, how I am abusive if I'm asleep and I forget my connection. We all can be that way. So with Lisa's dream, I would say figure out how to become awake in that dream in a meditative state and redirect the dream the way that she wished it would have played out. And that will that inevitably gives a sense of aha. And as you said, Jimmy, you might need to do that 3 or 4 times before you land on that way that really resonates for you.
Interesting. And listening to that, I can also relate that to dreams, what Lisa had said, to myself too as well. And I have done that very thing that I don't know if it, and somebody just actually tweeted out a question about that. Is that dreaming in the third person or dreaming in somebody else's eyes? Is that a common thing?
Yeah, it is. And in fact, to me, one of a challenge that I'll put out to your listeners is to pay attention to the dream that you have tonight and see if you notice what perspective you're dreaming from. Are you in the dream and you're seeing through your eyes, or are you seeing through somebody else's eyes? Or are you omniscient? Are you in the bleachers watching the events? Because the perspective that you see is very telling about the way that you do life. If you're always in the driver's seat, if you're always the one that's challenging authority, then that's you. Some people are always omniscient in their dreams because they are on the bleachers in their life, or they are always looking for a higher view, or they're just not really living in their body in their life. So it's important to see the perspective that you typically have, because if it's working for you, then great, you can keep it and have awareness about it. And if it's not working, just like in Lisa's dream, she's omniscient and then she's in the difficult situation but she's feeling overwhelmed. So she needs to figure out how to get empowered when when life is actually happening to her. So this dream, I feel like, is unfinished because it's like a dress rehearsal for something difficult that she hasn't quite figured out how to master yet. But she's in the midst of it. So stick with it, Lisa.
Let's go back to the phones. Hi, say hello to Kelly Sullivan. Who's calling?
Hello, Kelly. This is Tammy.
Hey, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
Kelly, I'm kind of a little bit freaked out by a dream I've had since I was little because most of my dreams, when I dream them, actually come true. This one has not. It starts out, I'm in a semi with my sister driving. The bridge collapses. I'm in a room with 2 beds under a house, and the only reason I know this is because I get out eventually. In the house, at first, there are 2 empty beds in this room. After I look around, there's a male in one bed and a female in the other.
Mm-hmm.
I get scared. I run to the steps. Those steps turn into like a slide. I can't get up them. So I dig myself out through the ground up above them into a house that's above it.
Mm.
And that's been a dream that's haunted me since I was a kid, a little kid. And I have this dream a couple of times a year since then. And it scares the heck out of me.
So, Tammy, I can hear it in your voice how terrifying this is. I mean, I can feel the emotion. And yet, as I'm listening, I'm trying to find what's the scariest part of this dream. What, if you could pinpoint and circle around the part that is the most disturbing. Let's focus on that.
The bridge
Is it that you're under a house?
The bridge collapsing is where I'm terrified of bridges. And finding the 2 dead people. Those are the 2 things that just make me shake, and I'm shaking right now.
Okay, so the beds have 2 dead people under a house. So it's like they got smashed, or how did they die? Do you know?
I don't know.
And are they people that you know?
I don't see their faces.
So here's my perspective, and when it comes to a dream that really has, like, just like how Tammy's got this dream has emotionally gripped her. Sometimes it takes a while to work with a dream like this, but from one perspective, Tammy, if this were a dream, I would ask you to try to go in and explore different aspects of this to see if you could rearrange any part of it. But let's just look at it from face value. In our waking reality, we always we seek stability. We hate it when things die, when people die, when anything breaks. So a bridge being broken, a bridge is symbolic of connection, communication, some kind of. So has there ever been anybody in your life that you had a really strong connection to that died or passed away or just kind of broke up with you or broke away from you?
This dream has been since, we lived in New Jersey in 1972. And that's when I started having a dream. The only thing I can remember that far back, because that's also traumatic to me, which is kind of weird, is leaving a house with my dad's wife, and the lady inside the house is named Sylvia. I was told she was a babysitter, but it's been a traumatic thing my whole life. So,
leaving that house, and you have a sister in real life.
Yes.
So to me, this dream feels like it's about a traumatic break in reality, leaving this house, being a little girl. And there could also be the aspect of you being tuned into some psychic realities as a kid. Sometimes most houses, even though they're supposed to report things, if somebody dies in a house or whatever, there's a lot of things that don't get reported. And if you're a sensitive little girl, you may have picked up on something that was going on and that may have literally been going on underneath the house or in a certain place where you were. And so there could be that aspect of it. To me, where I mostly focus the work is on playing with the symbols in the dream. So the bridge being broken, and how, like what's sometimes the blessing of a bridge being broken is that the bridge could be repaired, but in a brand new way. And it's about the connection, the dead male, the dead female. Death in a dream is different than death in real life. Symbolically speaking, death represents the ending of a pattern, the ending of life as we knew it, or the ending of a relationship as we knew it. And that's not a bad thing, because sometimes that is the predecessor of a radical change that we just haven't become oriented to yet. So it sounds like you were really attached to a certain thing, a certain way of being back then, and there were a lot of changes that you weren't prepared for. This dream may be symbolic of the kind of the rug being pulled out from underneath you. And but I would, if we were going to work together longer, I would have you look for some of the blessings here in, like, what happens to these dead people after they're dead. Where do they go on? Where are they next? And what happens to the bridge once it's broken? You can redirect it. You can put a finish to this dream that actually leaves you feeling empowered. It doesn't have to keep traumatizing you like this. So does any of that make sense? Does any of that resonate with you?
It all makes sense, yeah.
Thank you for the call.
Like,
I'm sorry.
Tammy,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, if you'd like, Tammy, you can feel free to send me an email. We can follow up, because I feel like there's more here. I don't want to leave you unfinished here with this dream, because I feel like in a way, because it's shared, we're all kind of unfinished here.
Right.
I feel like it'd be really great to let you know, Jimmy, how Tammy would like to finish this dream and what she comes to, so that she's not left with these kind of broken pieces that she's walking around with. So Tammy, reach out to me. You can send me an email at info@kellysullivanwalden.com, or actually kelly@kellysullivanwalden.com, and we can set up a little private dream coaching session.
Right on.
Okay,
and Tammy,
Kelly,
and definitely follow up with us and let us know.
I will. It'll be a couple of days. Right now I have some issues with my eyes going on.
Okay.
But I'll definitely get a hold of her. Jimmy, if you can, or Mark, because I know he's in the room listening, write down that address for me, because I'm not online.
Okay. We'll take care of it, Tammy.
Sweetheart.
Thank you so
care,
much.
Honey. You're going to be okay. You're going to come through this. It's going to be okay. A broken heart is an open heart. So where you've been broken is actually where there is purpose, and where you can find a transcendent aspect of who you are that's beyond all of this. And you are a very sensitive soul, and there's a reason for this sensitivity, and there's beauty that can come from this pain.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
Tammy.
Right. Bye.
Be safe. Phone lines are open, 323-825-5045. If you would like to discuss your dreams with Kelly Sullivan. I cannot avoid any longer Twitter here. I've got so many questions that are here. So let me just bang some of these out really quick.
Sure.
Let's see. Does Kelly have any suggestions on how to cultivate lucid dreams? And that's from Pieces of Lisa.
Awesome. I think the best way to cultivate lucid dreaming is meditation. That's the shortcut to it. If you can meditate for a few minutes a day and really get some kind of control over where your mind goes, that's one of the most direct ways. And then if you set a very strong intention before going to sleep at night that you want to be awake in your dream, that's a great way. Another tip is to do it while you're taking a nap in the middle of the day, so that it doesn't disrupt your sleep, because at night you really need that restorative sleep. And a lot of people that are trying to practice lucid dreaming really kind of get in their way if they try to do it at night. So try taking naps in the middle of the day with a strong intent that you're going to become aware that you're dreaming while you're dreaming.
Interesting. This is from Karen. That's really interesting. This is from Karen. She says, what about regular people in their dreams you don't know or know of until years later?
Ooh, that's great. Well, I always say anybody in your dream that stands out, whether it's somebody familiar, whether it's a celebrity that you've never met but you know who they are, or if it's somebody that you have no idea who they are, just start off by asking yourself, the question, how would you describe that person in 3 words? So are they tall, dark, handsome? Are they strong, capable, sinister? Are they, what are the 3 defining characteristics of that person? And if you're a female and that person happens to be male, then consider that it could be the male aspect of you. If you're male and the person in your dream is female, it's the female aspect of your soul that you're grappling with, that you're seeking balance within.
Let's go back to the phones. Is this Dino?
Yes, it is. Good evening, Jimmy. Good evening, Miss Kelly.
Hello, Mr. Dino.
Hi. I have a couple of things. One is more personal. I don't know if my dreams have been that interesting, but before I get into that, when I was younger and was very heavy in my psychology phase, I read books about dreaming and manipulating your dream while you were in sleep, training yourself. Not so much in a mystical sense, but more in a, finding out your own psyche. And I used to be able to, when I practiced before I went to sleep, say, I will remember my dreams. You were supposed to keep a journal by your bed, but that didn't usually work out well. You write gobbledygook sometimes. But I did, in my early 20s, seem to be able to, to sometimes do that. I was starting to be able to, I'm in a situation, I'm falling, but I'm going to stick with it. I'm not going to wake up. And I seem to have lost that ability as I've gotten older. I'm quite a bit older, and that's the first part. If you had any ideas on that before I tell you about dreams.
Yeah, Dino, we're up against a break here. Did you have a question really quick? And
I guess the other thing is dreams that may or may not be more common. I've had dreams, and I don't remember them as much when I'm older, like swimming around the San Francisco Bay like it was nothing, or flying across somewhere, and then while I was sleeping saying, why doesn't everybody do this? This seems totally
natural. Awesome. That's awesome.
Thank you for the call, Dino.
Okay.
Anytime you're swimming in a dream, the water element in the dream is symbolic of the feminine aspect, is symbolic of your emotions and your feelings. So if you're swimming and you're loving it and you're like, why isn't everybody doing it? Then that would be symbolic of you being really comfortable in your emotions and in your deeper feelings, your deeper psyche. What a beautiful dream. And flying, to me, both of those dreams are reflective of you being connected to your soul and your spirit. And why doesn't everybody do it? I agree. Why doesn't everybody do it? And to answer the question that you posed before, one of the things we can do to be more lucid in our dreams is to actually practice being more lucid in our lives. Ask the question throughout the day, how can I be awake? Am I dreaming or am I awake right now? And if you see your eyes in the mirror, say something like, I'm awake, I'm awake. And if you have an intent to wake up and to be a better version of yourself throughout your day, your dreams are going to carry that. You're going to carry that into your dreams, and because your dreams can amplify and go beyond, it will take it like 10 times further. So if your intent is to wake up and to be the most empowered, awake version of yourself in the daytime, then that is one way that you can influence your dreams with that similar intent, only 10 times stronger.
Before we go back to the phones, and we are at a break here, so really quickly, this is from Australia. Actually, this is from Mark. He says, cool. Ask her about teeth falling out in dreams.
Oh, Mark, and God, it must be like the middle of the night for you or something. This is, wow, good for you. So teeth falling out, this is a loaded subject. There's so many different ways of looking at it. From my perspective, I think that teeth falling out in dreams are related to grinding teeth. And if we're grinding teeth, that often means that there's something in our life that we're stressed or worried about. And often the things that have us be stressed or worried that would cause us to grind our teeth often relate to issues of security or stability. So I think we have these dreams when we're going through a big change, if money is an issue, if we're worried about how we're going to take care of ourselves or a big change that's coming around the pike. We will have these dreams often, I believe, and I've talked to many dentists that actually agree with this, we have these dreams because it's really bad for us to grind our teeth, and our subconscious mind is trying to give us something really alarming to wake us up so we'll stop it. Another point of view is that it's just like loose lips sink ships. Anything having to do with the mouth is related to communication issues. So if you are talking poorly about yourself, if you're grinding yourself down, like saying something really negative about yourself or about somebody else, you'll have a dream like this to kind of stop yourself and correct yourself, to know that your words have power. Your words make spells, and they have magic power. So be mindful of the words that you use to describe yourself and your world.
So it has nothing to do with you need to floss more. That's fascinating.
Sure, sure. Let's get real practical about it. Why not?
I've never had a falling out teeth dream. This is Fade to Black. More of your calls when we come back. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, tonight. Kelly Sullivan and Dreams. I'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
Are you a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, or UFO skywatcher? If so, FNGinnovations.com has the product you definitely need in your investigations kit or go bag. Introducing the Morpholite Wide Beam Tactical Flashlights that put the light where you need it most. Traditional flashlights shine a focused round beam with limited line of sight in the dark. Morpholite Tactical Flashlights change all that, utilizing a revolutionary wide beam design to enable you to see safety hazards such as hanging wires and steel, pipes, and holes in the floor you just can't see with a focused round beam. In the field, where safety is paramount, a 180-degree beam increases orientation and peripheral vision in the dark. Morpholite flashlights are ideal for investigations in abandoned facilities such as houses and hospitals, factories, caves, and tunnels. Avoid those low-hanging tree branches that poke your eyes in the woods. Visit FNGinnovations.com to see a full line of tactical lights and accessories. That's FNGinnovations.com.
Now you can find all your favorite talk radio shows live, all in one place at TalkStreamLive.com. Listen from anywhere, office, home, or in your car. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com and click on one of the many live talk show hosts you want to listen to. It's free and easy. No computer? Download the smartphone apps. Never miss your favorite talk show. Find them all at TalkStreamLive.com.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn
it. This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kelly Sullivan is with us. It's dreams all night long. What do dreams mean? What do your dreams mean? I've been waiting for this show for a long time. Absolutely compelling. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Kelly Sullivan. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. Hi, Kelly. This is Nancy. How are you both doing?
Great.
Welcome.
Good.
Welcome to the show, Nancy. What have you got for what have you got for Kelly tonight?
Well, I have had the proverbial dream where something's chasing you, and it was really bad. Where I would be waking up, screaming, flailing, kicking, and sweating, and it just to the point, where you have to wake up, you have to sit, you have to go, oh my God, that's not real. This is what's real right now. And this was going on for years. And I think it's in the last year, I finally, for some reason, I don't know what happened. It was an opportune time. I was during this dream, I turned around and I looked at it finally, and I said, what the heck do you want? What do you want from me? And this thing, this gross, like the Blob, you know, the movie The Blob, this thing, all of a sudden there's a zipper that appeared, and it unzipped, and there was me.
And there was
you. It was me. And I looked at it, and I just started screaming at, myself, like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why have you been doing this to me? And I don't, it just was funny how many years it took me to figure out that it was me. I was my own worst enemy. I was the one terrorizing myself, And
this is amazing.
It was like, and since then there has been a lot calmer and a lot peacefulness in me as a person. And it just was like, well, why did it take so long? How many years is this? How many decades?
Right. So this is an amazing point, and this is what we always get to when I do any kind of dream work with somebody. It's always a surprise who is the nemesis, who is the ghoul, who is the scary creature, and often it is a shadow aspect of ourselves. Rarely does it actually show us, unzip itself and show us that it is exactly who we are, but it's often an aspect of our disowned energy. It's our shadow. And if we allowed the dream to play itself all the way out, it would have a quote-unquote happy ending. We would come to terms with an aspect of ourselves that is incredibly empowering. And if we want to not spend years and decades and lifetimes running, we could just, everyone who's listening right now could say, okay, no more running. The moment I notice that I'm running, let me stop and turn and face the scary creature. And Jimmy, here's my fear formula for anyone that has a dream like Nancy had with something scary that's chasing them. Remember the fear formula, FEAR. Face it, embrace it, ace it, and replace it. So Nancy faced it, and she embraced it in some way energetically by unzipping it and getting into the heart of it, and then she aced it by kind of overcoming it. She's no longer scared of it, and then she replaced the blob with now it's an aspect of herself. It's no longer a scary creature, and on the outside of that, or the outcome of that, is alchemy. She's turned something that was of a lower level, dense energy into something that's now kind of golden. It's her own piece of gold that she can take with her into her life and give her tons of confidence with anything that scares her. Thank you, Nancy, for sharing that with us.
Yeah, it's amazing. And what's remarkable is she was able to unzip it. If it was my dream, I would never get to that point. My dreams never, ever resolve. I mean, ever. I mean, when I say ever, I truly mean that. And
but
she was able
where most of us don't. Most of us wake up too soon, or we don't stick with it long enough. So it's a blessing that Nancy was able to actually resolve it in her dream. But we all have the capacity to resolve any dream, just like that scary dream I was telling you about, the guy who was killing everybody.
Right.
I didn't resolve it in the dream. I would have preferred to have done that, but I liked the way that I did resolve it. Was so satisfying, and I did it in my waking reality, and it's valid. In fact, there's all kinds of research that they're doing at Harvard and all kinds of other very fancy colleges and universities, and they call it imagery rehearsal therapy, IRT, and this is a clinical thing that they do, and it's such a simple thing. We can all change the direction of a dream, and it will absolutely change the way we think, the way we feel, and the way we dream.
You know what dreams I resolve? The dreams that I resolve are the ones where I have to go to the bathroom. I got to pee really, really bad, and I'm running around in the dream looking for a bathroom. I'm not kidding. Running around, and boom, my eyes pop open. I got to go. And I go to those are the dreams that I resolve. Am I sharing a bit too much?
And do you wake up and it's kind of wet on the sheets?
Yes. It has happened occasionally. Hey, Nancy, thank you for the phone call. That was the best.
Thank you, Nancy. I love the zipper.
You.
The zipper is a powerful metaphor. I use that one a lot myself to just unzip the yucky stuff away. We could all use that. Let's borrow that from Nancy tonight.
Now, what about? I've never had these dreams, and I hear about them all the time. I see references in movies and so forth. You're running from cannibals. You're running. Somebody is out to get you. And for most, it's always, a terrifying thing. What is going on there? And why haven't I had those kind of dreams? I never have. I've never been chased.
Not that you know of. Or maybe because your archetype, your strategy from the dreams that you shared, you're the one that does the chasing. You're the one that goes after stuff. So many of us are chased because we're afraid of our own shadow. We're afraid of what's most people are living in such a way that it's like we're cut off from our own power. We are enormously, infinitely beautiful, powerful beings that are beyond measure, and yet most of us relate to ourselves like we're these shivering, frightened little creatures that are cut off from this big, scary world, and we're just trying to survive. That's ridiculous. So these dreams where we're being chased are often our power that we have said, no, I am not that big. I am not that powerful. That can't be me. So it has to come after us. It's like it stalks us. It's that which is stalking us is ourselves. It's our own power. And most of us are so terrified of it. Just like that Marianne Williamson quote, our greatest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we're powerful beyond measure. We can't handle our power. So we stop having these chasing dreams once we finally calm down and meditate on the fact that we can, and we try to figure out how to make room for some of that power in our lives. Now, you, Jimmy, on the other hand, you're doing the chasing. You're running after more of it. You can't get enough. And we all have our own leading edge. And I think chasing dreams are really, really amazing because they can be, they surprise us when we allow ourselves to know that it's our own power that's chasing us.
Man, that is fascinating. This is from Renee, one of our producers here, and she says, Kelly, I ask you this due to the volume of research that you've done for your books. Have you ever heard of anyone having precog dreams that always come true 2 days later? I've done this for decades, including one dream that solved a criminal case, but have never met or read about anyone else doing the same thing in that particular time frame of 2 days. Any insights you may have would be appreciated.
I have not heard of anybody that has it be that specifically 2 days. I have not. So this is the first time I've heard of that. What I have heard is that people that get really good at honoring their precognitive dreams and knowing it, and they take the time to notice what the pattern is. There usually is a pattern. There's usually some kind of a particular feeling tone or a particular place that you show up or a particular person that shows up in the dream. One of the dreams in Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dreams and Synchronicities, or Dreams and Premonitions, I should say, that Synchronicities will be the next book, is a woman that always has precognitive dreams when this Franciscan monk shows up in the dream. And she always knows that dream is going to reveal something actual in reality. So I think it's wonderful that you've decoded your pattern and that you know for sure that it's always 2 days. I think it's incredible. I haven't heard that exact thing. No, I haven't. But I'm now I'll probably start noticing and hearing about more of that. But good for you. And my hat is off to you for solving a criminal case. With that, I'd love to hear more about what you did with your dream.
I'll put you in touch with her. She's the best. Now we have to venture into something that we talk about all the time on this show, and I've had literally hundreds of phone calls about this, and I've had my own experience too, and which is sleep paralysis and waking up and having something in your room. I've had my own experience about that. I can share that with you. My audience is tired about hearing about it. But in my own research, one of the things that I found out, and I don't know if this is 100% true or factual, but that your body naturally goes into a sleep paralysis mode where you are paralyzed when you are in deep sleep, when you're in REM.
Exactly.
So can we address that? And when the reason why I did my research on it, and I'm bringing up this paralysis part of REM sleep, is that we all enter that. We are all apparently paralyzed in REM. So if we wake up in the middle of a REM state, can we expect to be paralyzed and not move?
Exactly. So it's a great point, because it's actually a sleep disorder if we weren't paralyzed. There's the part of the brain that governs our motor functions. That part of the brain is asleep. So we're not meant to move our bodies. We're not meant to speak during our sleep. It's dangerous if we do. So if you're one of those people that does walk in their sleep or talk in their sleep, that's where the issue is. So know that it is normal to have a sense of not being able to move your body or not being able to speak if you're able to wake up. Instead of being terrified, I mean, some people really do get scared because they are having some awareness that they're dreaming or that they're sleeping and they haven't been able to transition to being awake. My suggestion is to just like we're talking about the nightmares and having the ability to plot out how you would finish that dream, imagine ahead of time, next time you have that situation, what kind of visual, maybe you'd bring in an angel, maybe you'd bring in an archangel, maybe you want to envision that you're going somewhere, or use that as a trigger for lucid dreaming, because you are sleeping, you're not completely awake. Otherwise, you would be able to move your body. So you could use that as something that can empower you as opposed to something that can terrify you. So go ahead, back to you.
Well, okay. So my experience, without going into extreme details, is I woke up, I couldn't move, and there was a real something standing in my room at the foot of my bed, and it blinked a couple of times, and it lasted for about 15 minutes, and it was absolutely 100% real. I'm not going to have anybody try to talk me out of that, because
what did it look like?
It was 4 foot tall, dark, big eyes that blinked. I don't want to go into any more detail than that, because I like to hear other people's experiences and then relate it to my own, and to see if we have seen the same thing, if you know what I'm saying. But I'll say that. It was, I could see him.
Was the energy malevolent or benevolent?
I had that question today on another radio show I was on today. I was a guest on another show, and that question came up. I feel like it was not a positive thing. Okay, there wasn't any spoken word or anything that was bad or anything physical or anything like that. But this standoff and the blinking of the eyes was intimidating, and it was not a good situation, no. And I was scared out of my brains. I mean, I almost had a heart attack. I thought my chest was going to blow up. So, and that's what went down. Is this... I've had, like I said, hundreds of calls from listeners that have had something very similar, where there was obviously something in the room, and it was definitely physical. And, I don't think that anybody would say that it was, imagined. And definitely in my case, it wasn't. I can only base it on my own experience. I saw what I saw, and I went through what I went through. Eventually, I was able to move, and after about 15 minutes, I turned on the light, turned around. I was ready for a genuine ass-kicking session. I thought somebody broke into my house. That's what I thought. and the being wasn't there. And I ran through the house, turned on all the lights, and couldn't find anybody in my home. And then I slept with the TV on and the lights on for the next 10 years. And
like that's going to keep them away.
Well, Kelly, it never happened again. Okay? There was only this one event.
Yeah. Well, it opens up such an amazing can of worms. I mean, on one level, I'm just going to go here for a second. I think of us humans as being comprised of three basic archetypes. There's the angel, the ego, and the caveman. And the caveman aspect of us that's very survival-oriented needs to feel safe and in control of our environment. And we create these structures that we call houses that give us the experience of having some kind of control over our environment. And we have walls and doors that we can lock. And that gives us that feeling. And then there's our ego that wants to look good and be liked and be cared about and all of that, and that's a whole other thing. Then there's the angel part of us, or in other words, the higher part of us that knows that who we are is beyond what any box that could surround us, any house. We're connected to the universe, and there are other life forms in this universe. It's not just us here, and we are collaborating, and we're in relationship to all different kinds of experiences and realities, and so from the higher self perspective, it's not so terrifying, not so scary, and not so unconceivable that something like that would happen, or if it happened, that it's not such a bad thing. And who's to say that you weren't visiting him or her, and that you don't do the same thing? It's just I think it becomes terrifying when we're relating to that phenomenon from that more primitive part of ourself that is very body defined. And so I think we're multi-leveled, multi-layered beings, that we're complicated creatures, and we're living in a complicated universe. And I think there is a lot of overlap between different beings exploring. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I do know that really whatever boundaries we do create, they're very flimsy, and I don't know that all the things that we could do could keep them out. And yet, if we want to feel safe, because really, to me, this whole conversation points toward, well, what can make us feel safe? What can give us peace? To me, it's about vibration and raising our vibration as high as we can, and getting to a place where we do have this kind of energetic field around us that will gravitate to us, beings that match that vibration. If we're hanging out in a fear-based environment, then we're going to attract fear-based, denser, lower-leveled energies. And if we don't like that experience, then it's up to us to raise our vibration and attract beings that are moving, that are more upward, flying-oriented. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if any of that answers anything that you wanted me to answer, but that's what came to me in response to this phenomenal experience that I think a lot of your listeners are probably quite jealous of.
Well, and I think a lot of them have experienced the same thing. And there's one other aspect to this, which is the physical side of, a reality side of dreams. You're dreaming and you feel something sit on your bed. You're dreaming, or maybe even come out of a dream state, and you can feel something physical happen. A cat runs across your bed, but there's no cat there. Somebody sits on your chest, and you feel something, and there's nobody there. You feel a hand touch you, which this was just a few months ago. I'm sleeping, and I feel this hand literally touch my thigh, and I'm assuming it's my wife. And I reached down and went to touch her hand, and I'm telling you right now, I felt the pressure through I felt the hand. And I reached out, and she was on the other side of the bed. She wasn't even close to me. And I didn't hear her roll over or feel, and none of that. And that woke me up. I woke up, my eyes popped open, and I was like, now, holy crap, what was that about? So what about the physical aspect of it when you feel something and you know something has moved to your bed or sat down or sat on your chest or touched you or held your hand? What about that aspect?
Half the stories in the new book that just came out, The Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dreams and Premonitions, have stories that have that element in it, where there is a physical touch. There's actually one story that's called Ghost Cat that is about this cat that does keep walking across the bedroom or walking across the bed, or they hear it purring and there it is, and she's just there. And then there's grandpa or grandma that shows up, or beings that you don't know. There is a place where these other dimensions do connect with this dimension, and it's in a way it's kind of it's a miracle, and it's hard to explain exactly how does that work. I know from the brief experience that I had when I was on the other side of the veil, I had a death experience back in 2008, and while I was out of my body and loving it and having the best time of my whole life, I was trying so desperately to communicate with the people that were still in their bodies and on the physical plane, that were freaking out because they thought I was gone. And I so wanted to communicate with them that I was okay and to not worry. And it took every bit of effort I could to move my body and to move something on the table to get their attention, and I was not in my body while I was trying to get my body to move and trying to move the objects around me to get their attention, and all it did was freak them out. And what I was left with from that is these dense humans, they interpret love, and because it took a lot of love for me to try to get myself to move my body and to communicate, and they interpreted it as this terrifying, scary thing, and it just freaked them out all the more. And I'm thinking, you humans are exasperating. Don't you know how much love it takes to penetrate this veil? If you knew, you would never be freaked out when there was something like that. It's most of the time, it is deep love that causes somebody to break through the veil and actually reach out and touch you. If you only knew that, then you would feel so blessed.
What did that experience teach you? Are you afraid of dying now?
Oh my God, it's the exact opposite. I go back and forth because, of course, the angel ego caveman. I have a cavewoman part of me that doesn't want to see anybody I love go, and that I get quite attached to things and people. And yet I can't deny that I had an experience of being on the other side and being out of this body, and it was beyond beautiful, beyond glorious, and it was and when you have that experience, and it's not, and I've read stories about things like that since then, and of course other people have similar experiences, but I felt it for myself, and I just know that whatever beauty that is on this planet to be experienced, it's a drop in the bucket compared to what's available to us on the other side. So to me, there's nothing to be afraid of on the other side. What's difficult is losing people and being stuck on this side and not having that perspective. But I don't think whenever we have an elevating experience, it does affect us. It does stay with us. There's one of the things that I did take with me, I found a William Blake quote a couple of days after I came back, and I felt like that poem said so much about what I learned on the other side, that was mostly about attachment versus the suffering, like the freedom of letting go versus the suffering of attachment. I really got that our attachment to stuff and to people and our things is what has us be completely dense and not free. So I found this William Blake quote. Would you like to hear it?
I'd love to hear it.
He says, "He who binds himself to joy does the winged life destroy, but he who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise."
Wow. Wow. You know what, Kelly? I'm not done with you. I'm going to talk you into doing some overtime tonight. Let's jump into one last break, and then I've got some more stuff, and we'll take maybe one or two more calls, but I've got some more personal questions I want to get to. So we'll do that after the break. Stay right there. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, dreams all night long. Kelly Sullivan is with us. We'll be taking more of your phone calls right after this. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Twitter is @JChurchRadio. Any questions, I'll try to get to the rest of these, is hashtag F2BQ in Twitter. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be back more with Kelly Sullivan and your calls right after this. Stay with us.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
All right, you Fadernauts. Studio Dome has done it once again. A new Studio Dome Fadernaut special. Introducing the Studio Dome Boom Box Bluetooth speaker. It's got a rear-firing bass film subwoofer and dual 52mm main speakers. You'll never listen to your tablet or cell phone speakers again. Just click on the Studio Dome banner, use the promo code Jimmy, and you'll get the SBB for $49 and free shipping. And get a Buddy 4-port USB charger for free. That's a $19.99 value right there. And they'll throw in a Buddy in the box. It's the best deal on the net. Anywhere. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner, enter the promo code Jimmy, go Beckley Teppy.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back to Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Kelly Sullivan dreams all night long. What a fantastic show. And I wasn't quite ready to wrap this one up. So, Kelly, thank you for staying late with us. And let's just go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. This
Hi.
is Deb Knoll.
This is,
What's your name?
Oh, hi, Bev. How are you?
Oh, hanging in there.
What have you got for Kelly tonight, Bev?
Well, my question is, and I'm sure there's been people, that's had this dream where family members have passed and they're in the dreams with you. When you dream you're all together, all your family members that have passed are all together. What does that mean?
Oh, well, I think it's a blessing. It's a wonderful thing. Often, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, the woman who wrote the book on death and dying, after hearing, and I've heard probably as many dreams on death and dying as she has, and her perspective was that 99% of the time these are actual visitations. It's not always that way, but I think more often than not it is a visitation. It is a loved one that is reminding us that they're still with us, that they still care, that their love is still there, even if they don't deliver something really wise to us or give us the keys to the answers of the universe. But the fact that they show up in our dreams shows us that they're still alive, they're still among the living, and in some way the relationship that we have with them, as there's a quote in the Course in Miracles that the love never ends. The love is the only thing that's real, and it continues. So our relationships aren't done with them just because the mortal coil has been shed, so to speak. So are these dreams pleasant? Do they leave you feeling good and reassured, or do you miss them afterwards?
Well, all of the above.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that, sure.
I think a lot of people wish they had more of these. I talk to some people that say, oh, gosh, I wonder how I can have more of these, because they're so, I think there's nothing that can heal a heart more than a dream about one of our beloveds on the other side coming to us. You know, we know that theoretically we know they're in a good place, we know that they're okay, but actually get to experience that reconnection with them as if nothing ever happened. It can really soothe and heal the heart. There's so many examples of people that have just been in absolute despair and missing them, and after having a dream, they're actually okay. Do you find that it helps to heal you?
Yes, it does. Really, it really does. Because my mom and my grandma, my grandma I had a real special relationship with, and there's times when I'm missing her really bad, and my mom too, and even my dad, and after I have dreams about them,
You're
I'm
a
feeling
lucky
peaceful.
lady. Very lucky. And for anyone who's listening who wishes that they had more dreams like Bev is having, if you've had departed loved ones and you wish that you would have more dreams about them, one way that you can incubate your dreams, that's kind of a fancy term for meditate before your dream meditate before you go to sleep to influence your dreams. You can think about them and look at pictures of them, maybe even write them a letter or ask them a question in a journal before you go to sleep, and see if that doesn't help to conjure a specific dream or get them to help you with a particular thing that you're moving through. And you can do that whether somebody's on the other side or not. If you just want to have your dreams help you with something in your life, that's something that you can do.
Does that help you, Bev?
Yes, it does. With my dad, I was always his little princess. And when I miss him really bad, I'll dream about him, and it's such a happy dream, and I wake up feeling so good.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you for the call, Bev, and have a great rest of your evening.
You too, Jimmy. Thank you.
I'm going to go back to Twitter really quick. Dennis tweeted a question, and I think this is fantastic. He says, I am me in a dream, but I am not my personality in the dream. Sort of an anti-me. What would that mean? And I think that is blazingly cool. What is going on there?
Blazingly cool. It is. Well, the way that we show up in our lives, the way that we mostly identify ourselves, it's really just one piece of the pie, and often the parts of ourselves that we get to explore, usually it's via other people in the dream. Often it's not ourselves, but it's usually helping us to get acquainted with other parts of our power, other aspects of ourselves, and even shadow aspects. So I would ask Dennis, how, are the qualities of this other you, are they qualities that you wouldn't dare normally express? Like, are you more outgoing? Are you more loud? Are you more, crazy? Or what are the qualities of that? And I would just say that that's maybe a sublimated aspect of yourself that your dream is helping to reacquaint you with. It's kind of like we're a big puzzle, and we only have a few of the pieces of the puzzle put together, and our dreams are saying, hey, you're more than this. Here's a few more pieces. Here's a few more pieces. See if you can put these together so that you realize that you're more than what you thought you were.
Yeah, I suppose that, if you live a conservative lifestyle and that's the way your friends look at you as, Joe Straight Guy. And then in your dreams, you're like Elvis Presley, running around,
Right, exactly. Or the opposite.
Or the
Some
opposite,
people...
right. I want to say, I'm trying to think something flamboyant or crazy.
Well, like you, Jimmy, it would be like you having a dream about somebody that's like a pencil pusher that's kind of living very straight and, a normal life. You'd be like, who's that dude? That's not me.
Right.
But we're all of it.
Right.
It's like that Whitney Houston song. I think of that as besides "Take Me to Church," that Whitney Houston song is also one of my theme songs. That I'm every woman, it's all in me. We're all every person. It's all in us. There's no part of humanity that we are not. We are connected to all of it, and there's certain parts that we like better than others, but that doesn't mean that it's not part of the mosaic that makes up all of us. we're all everything. So the parts that we suppress, repress, or say, ooh, that's not me, usually that's the part that comes chasing after us in the dream, or comes doing something weird in the dream, until we can learn how to love all of those parts. Not that we want to learn how to, embrace our inner serial killer and go out and kill people, but learn how to embrace the energy that is underneath all of that, so we can become more balanced, empowered people.
This comes in. Yeah, absolutely it does. And this comes in from Kat, and she says she is in the third person in her nightmares. Now, to me, that sounds absolutely friggin' fun. That sounds like that sounds like a good time. But what is going on there?
Well, she's in the third person, so that means she's watching, right? She's not in the action necessarily. She's not directly being affected by whatever the scary thing is that's happening. So in some way, there's kind of a blessing and a challenge in being in the third person, because on one level, you're detached. You're not in it. It's a safe place to be when you're kind of disconnected. But on the positive side of it, it could mean that you're getting an omniscient perspective, so that you can have more awareness about a dynamic that you play out, and so you can be more at choice in the matter and not so affected. I mean, in one way, that's kind of an ideal way to be when we're in any kind of a traumatic situation. A lot of people rise up out of their body and look at things from afar and go, oh, here's what's going on. So you don't feel the pain, you don't feel the stress, and that gives you the ability to choose a rational response as opposed to just freaking out and reacting and running around like a chicken with its head cut off. So I would consider all of those points of view and see which is the most empowering and which feels like, well, what's your cutting edge? What's the next step for you? If you're used to being third party, try stepping into being in the first person role. Try being in the driver's seat. See what that's like.
One of the things that I enjoy doing, and I'm sure a large part of our audience does this, or I hope that they do, and if they don't, you should try it. I like to, if I can, find a really cool horror flick late at night.
Oh, my God.
And get it going, and then fall asleep to it, and then try to have a really good nightmare. Is that safe? Is that okay? And is that normal?
Oh, my Lord. Well, I would say it's up to you, but that's not something that I personally would do. But I could see how somebody like you, who's an adventurer, who likes to break the rules and stretch things. I mean, there's something to be said about going after the dark stuff and finding your way through it and trying to conjure a really bad nightmare. I mean, that's kind of cool. That's kind of a warrior mentality. My typical way is to I'm kind of interested in exploring whatever dark stuff shows up in my life. I figure that's my assignment, and I'm going to deal with that. But I don't go looking for it. My assignments tend to find me.
Right.
When I have choice in the matter, I prefer to explore realms that are going to raise my vibration, that are going to lift me up and give me a higher point of view. To me, I feel like that gives me leverage, so that when the dark stuff does happen, I have something to draw on. I'm really sensitive, so I take those dreams. I take like scary movies really, really deep in me, so I have to be very selective with what I allow myself to watch. So I'd say, people know thyself, and if you feel like exploring that especially around Halloween, which is coming up, this is the time to, if you want to explore some dark stuff, this is kind of the season of the witch, the season to do that. So Go for it. Otherwise, raise the vibration and up the amplitude of the wattage of your light bulb, of your flashlight, and see how light you can get. I mean, I think we should always challenge ourselves in one way or the other.
I have found over the years of my experimentation with dreaming that if I don't eat before I go to bed, I'll have a pretty clean, object-free kind of night. But if I eat before I go to bed, I will have some pretty colorful things that happen. Is that common, and would you encourage that? I mean, eat Mexican food before you go to bed with lots of hot salsa, and that's going to kick things up a little bit. And if you want to avoid dreaming, maybe don't eat. I've never heard or read anything like this. This is just my own experience.
I hope your listeners can really see the parallel between your way of living and your dreams that you have about like exploring all the stuff that's prohibited and where you go. I think it's awesome. What we do to our physical body will affect our psyche, our spirit, our dreams for sure, and vice versa. What happens externally affects what's internal and vice versa. So in an ideal world, like dreaming cultures, indigenous cultures that really place an emphasis on dreaming would say that we should live our entire waking lives in such a way as to have really good dreams. So that would mean we would never eat 3 hours before going to bed. We would never eat too much. We wouldn't eat too little. We would get just the right amount of exercise so as to have amazing dreams. We wouldn't put alcohol or drugs into our bodies because that would suppress our dreaming, or that would take our dreaming out of balance. The dreaming cultures would say that if we set ourselves up to have great dreams, then that's where we really get to explore the outer limits of what we're capable of as humans and spirits in human bodies. And that's one other place to explore. We know, like if you've ever been sick and you've had to take NyQuil or for me, that's been something that I've done. Oh my God, the dreams are just completely off the chart.
Yes.
One thing that people do, and I talked about this with Dr. Oz when I was on his show. We talked about what happens with vitamin B6 and how that affects the visual cortex in the brain. And so having vitamin B6 before you go to sleep, not in too large of doses. I would say just take, I actually don't know how many milligrams, but the typical amount would be, I think it's 50 milligrams. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But take 1 or 2 capsules before you go to sleep and explore with that to see how much more vivid your dreams become. Because the more vivid they are, the more easily catchable they are. When dreams are really murky or really hard to catch, then they're really difficult to remember. So they tend to be easier to catch with a little vitamin B6. So you can explore in that way if you want to enhance your ability to remember your dreams.
It's funny that you said NyQuil when you're sick. It's inevitable. If you've got a cold and you got to do the NyQuil, you're in for an e-ticket.
Put your seatbelt on.
Yes.
Strap yourself in.
I kind of look forward to it. This is from Fran, and this is a really great question. And thank you for this, Fran. She says, I never was in my body dreaming, always an outside observer until I was in my late 30s. What does this mean?
Well, the language that we use to describe our dreams is very, very telling. So when someone says they're outside of their body, it means that they are taking an objective view. So I would imagine that Fran must have found it to be a safe strategy to be aloof, to be somebody who is more of an observer than a participator in life. And sometimes, when we hit our 30s, a lot of people start to find a bit more confidence and a bit, just like you were saying, Jimmy, that as we get on in life, we're kind of more apt to get up on the stage before we've had the sound check with the guitar and just let's just play.
Right.
Let's just get on with it.
Right.
So I would imagine that Fran must have gone through something that gave her a bit more confidence, or a sense that even if the worst thing happens and people laugh at you or they don't like you, it's still better to be a part of life than to have missed out. I mean, it takes, from one perspective, it takes a lot to have a human incarnation. Even though there's billions of us here, there's a lot more, from one perspective, that are lining up wanting to get a human body to jump into. So why waste the opportunity sitting on the sidelines? So I'm happy to hear that you went from being an observer to in your dreams and probably in your life, and being more of a participant in your dreams and thus in your life. I would imagine that there's a very, very direct correlation between those dreams and what happened in your life, Fran.
Wow, what a fantastic show. I've got a couple of more. These are great questions, so let's just get these in, and
Sure.
and thank you for hanging. This is from Ryan. He said, I've never heard this before. He said, I've heard that looking at your hands before you fall asleep, you have a more creative dream.
That's looking at your hands is usually a lucid dreaming technique. I haven't heard of it in terms of a more creative dream, but that's a creative way of looking at it. Usually it's the hands are one way of knowing that you're dreaming. If you, in your waking life, throughout the day, one lucid dreaming technique is to, from time to time, just take a look at your hands. Stop and notice the lines on your hands, and notice, like, take a snapshot with your eyes of what your hand, the palms of your hand look like. You can flip it over. Normally it's looking at the palms of your hand. And if you do that repetitively in your waking reality, then you will tend to remember how to do that when you're sleeping, when you're dreaming. And if you do that, often that's a trigger that you are dreaming. And then from that moment, then you can kind of take off. So usually it's a lucid dreaming takeoff, but I guess next time we talk, if Ryan comes back on and I come back on the show, Jimmy, we'll have to find out what Ryan means by creative, like, more lucid or I don't know. What does he do? Does he go to the circus? Is it multicolored? I'm curious about his experience.
Wow. Hey, I've got callers lined up too. We're out of time. Callers. I'm gonna stay with Twitter. I feel guilty, but if we take a call, we'll run out of time. Really quick, let's see. Kelly, do you think, this is from Q Ra, do you think there could be communal dreaming space that multiple sleepers occupy at the same time?
Absolutely. And that's probably happening naturally anyway, where there's souls that resonate on a similar frequency, that are thinking about similar thoughts. I would imagine that a lot of your listeners you're connecting with them because you all are on a certain similar frequency. So I wouldn't be surprised if you did a dream experiment, Jimmy, with your listeners and polled everybody what they're dreaming about from one week from today. I bet you'd find that there'd be similar themes. But there are people that do this very, very consciously. My husband, for example, was a part of a group of Jungians that a friend of his got sick with cancer, and a bunch of people came together and dreamed on behalf of a solution for his illness. And he was given a very short period of time to live, and he is still alive to this day, and it's been almost 20 years. So people can collectively dream a solution for someone's health issue or even for global issues. There's people I know that work with the United Nations, and they are dreaming right now regarding solutions for climate change, or solutions to eradicate poverty, or solutions to end, GMOs and all the crazy stuff that's going on with chemtrails and all of that. The bottom line is that a lot of us can feel incredibly disempowered by our circumstances, our situations in our lives. But one reason why I'm so turned on by dreams is that we have power that nobody can suppress. And the government can't suppress our dreams. We can connect with one another, and we can connect with our own spirit, our own higher guides, and dream out of the box and dream solutions that no one can take away from us. So we are ultimately much more empowered, if we allow ourselves to be, than we would ever and could ever dream possible.
What about when your dreams go vivid? Colors overpowering, and those don't stop, as opposed to the black and white old film type of dream, or maybe something that was fuzzy. What's going on when it goes vivid?
Well, there's all kinds of science around black and white dreaming and color dreaming, and the consensus is that most of us do dream in color, but it's not necessarily vivid color, but it tends to typically be, we do tend to dream the way that we see things in life, and black and white dreams are rare. But when there is a particularly vivid color that stands out, that means pay attention to that symbol. That symbol has particular value that is above and beyond what the rest of the dream is saying to you. If the whole dream is vivid, then to me that just as I said earlier on the show, it's another sign of, it's like the cosmic highlighter pen saying pay attention. If something is vividly colored, it's trying to get you to notice it. It's like somebody walking around with a bright pink hat on. It's like they want to be noticed. They want to stand out. They want you to ask them questions. They want you to learn something from them. So it's like hitting us over the head, getting us to drill deeper than we might otherwise do.
I have 2 questions left, and then we'll wrap. I'll try to get to the second one. The first one is, why do some people die in their dreams dramatically, either falling off a building, in a car accident, pushed off a cliff, what have you, but they actually remember dying in the dream?
Yeah, well, it's an old wives' tale that we die physically if we die in a dream. Although,
right.
If it happens to some people, we would never know because they're not here to tell us unless they wanted to channel through somebody else. But I know many people that have died in their dream and that are alive to tell the tale, although those dreams change them. So one of the stories that I love that's in Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dreams and Premonitions, is Michael Beckwith, who you may know.
Yes.
In his dream, he has a recurring dream that he's being chased by men with guns, and they progressively over time, years of him having this dream, they get closer and closer and closer, and finally they get so close that one guy puts the gun to his chest and shoots him, and he dies, and he feels the pain in his chest, and he leaves his body, he floats up, and he goes into this higher realm that he calls love, beauty, and he gets the answers to everything in the universe. When he wakes up from that dream, his entire life changes. And he goes from having a life where he was exploring being a doctor, he was studying to be a PhD and selling pot to put his way through school, and he's become the biggest New Age minister on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
He's the head minister of Agape Spiritual Center. So often death in a dream is a symbol of radical change. It means that there is a chapter of our life screeching to a halt, coming to an end, just as a new one is about to be birthed. So to me, death in a dream is not a bad thing. It's a predecessor to some radical new change, and the dream is giving us a bit of foresight so that we can prepare ourselves, so we can position ourselves so as to not be so thrown off by it, so that we can enjoy it, enjoy the process of change. Why not? Why fight it? Why fight the change that's inevitable instead of positioning ourselves so that we can ride that wave?
Wow, what a show tonight. And we totally ran out of time, and I can't wait to get you back on.
I would love to come back.
Yeah, we just barely got started tonight. Just really, really quick, best place to go and get your books, number 1. Number 2, are you speaking anywhere? Any television stuff coming up where any of our listeners can catch you? I'm working on a TV show behind the scenes. It's not out for anyone to see yet, but we are working on it. So I would say stay tuned in the next few months. Right now, the best way to stay up to date with me and where I speak, I do speak all over the place, and I'm on the radio a lot, and I've got some stuff that is coming up. If they go to KellySullivanWalden.com, KellySullivanWalden.com, if that's too hard to spell, you can go to IHadTheStrangestDream.com. That's my website, IHadTheStrangestDream.com. And if you put your name and email address in the little bar on the right side, you'll get some free dream gifts from me, and then you'll also be able to stay in touch with what
what I'm doing. I'm doing a ton of stuff. One way that people can interact with me regularly is to go to Dream Life Coach training if people want to learn how to pay more attention to their dreams and how to access the magic of their dreams to help their waking lives be more magnificent and more empowered. They can take this online class that I've created, Dream Life Coach Training. And they can also follow me on Twitter, Kelly S. Walden, or Facebook, Kelly Sullivan Walden, Dr. Dream.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Unbelievable show. Best show ever. Thanks you, Kelly.
Thanks for taking me to church. This has been awesome. And thanks for being in my dream, Jimmy Church. Really, really wonderful.
Thank you so much, Kelly. Have a great dream-filled night tonight, and I'll talk to you over the weekend.
You too. Sweet dreams.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Kelly Sullivan, wow, it was all that, and we took it and we ran out of time completely. Thank you, Kelly. Perfect night. There you go. Wow, I'm going to go dream. I think I'm going to go do some NyQuil, Oreos, and milk, and it is going to be on tonight. Thank you, Kelly. Faded Black's executive producers Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, and Jonas. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar, Fady Badale. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA The Planet. Tomorrow night, right here, Mike Gregorian, comedian, live in the studio. This broadcast is owned, copyrighted 2015 by Fade to Black, and the Game Changer Network cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night, everybody be safe. Go back, Lee Tappy.